Master. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Encounter Roleplay in the World Tree Burns. As you may have been able to tell, I am not, in fact, Will, our normal, wonderful, gracious host. I am Dan, and I am our Dungeon Master for this evening. So we're skipping most of the usual intro stuff and just getting right into it. We'll go around, say hi, tell who you're playing, who you are, all that good stuff. Simply, you're up. Go.
I was like so much quicker than Will. I was just like prepared to sit here for a minute. It's just like,
Nope.
go. I am simply_JXN here on Twitch. I'm simply JXN on Twitter. My name is Leslie. You can call me Simply. You can call me anything you want. I might not. But I play Tilly. She's our fighter. The swinging the hammer and shield, kadunk, but without reason and drinks a lot person. On Twitch, I make art. On Twitter, I make jokes. And that's about it. So let's just get started. I'm excited.
Yes. McLogan.
Hi, I'm McLogan. Dear sponsors, you guys exist. I can't remember who it is. Cobalt Press, thank you. People who give dice, thank you.
There you go.
Fantasy Grounds, thank you. Okay, that's the sponsors. Hi, I'm McLogan. I play Cloak. Cloak is happy because Fluff and Stuff came back alive. That's all I really got for right now. I can't wait to... This episode's going to be a lot of ups and downs, I think. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Scarlet.
Hello, I'm glad we're back, finally. I missed you all. And I'm happy to be playing Rowan again. I'm Scarlet Moth. I'm an artist, a cosplayer, D&D lover, shitposter, everything you love. And I'm playing Rowan the Ravenfolk Cleric, who may or may not be a ghost. Is probably a ghost. Definitely undead, definitely not alive.
She's kind of a ghost. She's also kind of alive. It's all weird. And last but most certainly not least, Tall Squall.
Hey, I'm Tall Squall. You can find me all over the internet as Tall Squall. I am playing Glajishin, who is our wonderful Trollkin Geomancer, and he has just seen a wonderful, wonderful thing. The resurrection, like a fiery phoenix of the bear that died for us so long ago. I'm sure nothing bad will come from flaming undead bear thing at all here in the halls of the Everforge.
Funny full circle thing. The bear, Fluff and Stuff, also died to fire. So, you know, that's just the whole circle of life and
look at that synergy happening.
And all of that right there. It's cool. Yeah, it's all happening. It's all callbacks. All right, so once again, I am Dan Dillon. I'm going to be your Dungeon Master for this evening here on the World Tree Burns. We're going to be doing some 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons in the world of Midgard, campaign setting from Cobalt Press. So, with no further ado, let's just jump right back into it. As people said, a great burst of flame had just spewed out of this furnace in the heart of an ancient dwarven forge that is nestled deep in the ancient primordial Margreve forest. And as they were shutting down this elemental forge to take the power source with them, as they had done before, a strange planar interaction of some sort happened, which is not terribly surprising since this place was close to the plane of fire. In sort of a metaphysical, cosmological sense. And this burst of flame ripped through, destroyed all of these human and animal and humanoid remains that were scattered through here from battles months in the past. And from this great pile of ashes, the massive, growling, confused, scared, angry brown bear that was affectionately dubbed Fluff and Stuff by our cloak-wearing gnome Cloak, began to claw its way out of its own ashes, the ashes of its own bones and moldering bits of fur and tissue that were incinerated in this elemental conflagration. And so there you find yourselves in this massive stone chamber, this masterful dwarven stonework with these great massive anvils in the four corners, and most of you, I think, are kind of clustered around the large ascending dais, these ziggurat-like set of stairs that lead up to the actual furnace itself where the heating and forging is done. And so you're sort of looking down as this bear, its massive shoulders now sort of rising up out of this dusty, puffing cloud of ash from the floor. Its claws scrape and screech on the ground, and the tips of its fur are kind of burning in little embers and letting off these peels of pretty foul-smelling smoke. So how how would you like to proceed?
Does anyone else see a bear? Is it just I heard a voice?
I'll let you make a. Let's see, how would that be? We could do a wisdom insight check, or I will also, if you prefer, if you're proficient in animal handling, you could use that with wisdom instead.
Hold on, let me get a character sheet up.
You should do that.
Because I don't know what I'm adding to it. My wisdom is like +1. I don't. I'm gonna do insight because I'm more trained in that. So it's a +4.
Okay. There you go.
16.
16. Okay. So happy is not what I would describe. I would describe confusion and fear. But it mostly seems like an animal response. There's confusion and startle, and that almost kind of trips into that borderline fear-anger state. So it's sort of like on the edge of fight or flight, but doesn't really know what's going on or what to make of this. And so as you're all watching, does anybody else want to react immediately, do anything else?
I think Glaz is sort of doing the, oh, look at that. Because at first he thought there was like a phoenix, and he was like, "It is not a phoenix at all. It is a bear, unless you can have a bear phoenix that comes back from the ashes." But this
was that bear not?
Does this normally happen?
Seconds ago?
Is it still an animal?
As far as you can tell, yeah.
I'm going to cast. Can I cast Animal Friendship?
Sure. You can cast Animal Friendship. So Cloak kind of eyeballs this bear that has now heaved itself fully out of the ashes. It's like it just rose out of them and scatters the rest of the pile and the little bits of crumbling blackened bone fragment that were left. And there's just this big wispy kind of half-diffused cloud of ash and dust billowing around the bear as it sort of spins this way and that, looking around, and is kind of growling and snuffling its massive bear nostrils and just looking around in this afraid, confused, disoriented state. So you can go ahead and cast your Animal Friendship. I believe I have to make a Wisdom saving throw. Is that correct?
Yeah, I believe it's a DC. Let me find the DC here for you. 12? Spell save DC?
Okay. Bears are reasonably wise. However, a 7 total is not going to do it. So you cast your spell, and the rest of you see Cloak sort of wave his hand, and there's this faint greenish sparkle of light that glitters on his fingertips, and you see the same light kind of reflect back from the bear's wide rolling eyes, showing whites all around, and it starts to slowly sort of calm down.
Stop and stop!
That was your bear?
Oh, yeah. He likes me again.
No. Is this
for how long?
Like a day.
Till tomorrow. So, as you guys are sort of eyeballing all of this, Glaz, you're still up near the furnace. Paula is, she kind of holds up her hands and is looking at all of you, and her eyebrows are sort of creeping up towards her hairline. Her face is ruddy because she's been working in the forge for days now, and for several hours today. She's kind of running with sweat, and she just looks over at Glaz, who's nearby, and says, "Did you do that? Is that something you did on purpose?"
No, I did not do that at all. I was just trying to regather the Heart of Flame back into its little home, and
so you look down. You look down at the lantern, and you do indeed have the little living blue mode of elemental flame back inside the lantern itself. And again, in the middle of the furnace, in this kind of scorched, embery, burning bowl, in the middle of the coal and fuel in the furnace itself, is that large, maybe fist-sized egg-shaped stone of black with kind of like deep orange glowing through some cracks and like facets in the stone.
Glaz will go, sort of close the lantern, just and go, no, I did not do that. Did you leave something? Is that part of your artificery that you were doing that you needed? Is that what is that?
So you bring her attention to the object in the forge. She looks down at it and she shakes her head. She says, "I've never seen that before. Did it come out of the forge?" Tilly, what are you doing about this moment?
Tilly, I'm sure. Well, first of all, she asked, "Is anybody else seeing a bear?" Because still worried about the tea. Definitely heard the force potentially of
quite clearly other people are seeing a bear.
Okay, and then she was probably going to take defensive stance. I feel like until if Cloak starts to approach it and it's friendly. However, I will remark that Heidi, which is what I decided to name her lamb, she is worried about. Which is tied back at our because we left her outside when we came into this forge.
Did you want to leave her outside? Because remember, you guys have been here for a few days, and you could have cleaned out one of the rooms to use as kind of a camp or shelter that you were staying in. So she could be safely in that room.
Be fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Rather than leaving her out in the forest, which wolves and the like.
It's sink or swim. I'm just kidding.
I mean, if you're good with it, I'm good with it. I was just, suggesting that.
No. I would have brought her or she would have brought her into wherever we're camping together, essentially.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right.
But not much other than making sure that Cloak's gonna be friendly with this bear, and this bear's gonna be friendly back. Because never seen a friendly bear.
So the bear.
I mean, there is the dancing bear. It's that one seems friendly enough.
I wonder how they got one to be friendly.
Cloak, can this bear dance?
Well, for a while.
So as you guys are talking about the bear, you can see that it's sort of padding with its big lumbering steps across the floor and scattering more poofs of that dust and ash every time its paws scrape on the stone, still trailing wisps of smoke here and there from its coat, although except for those little bits of singe where the flames seem to have burnt its fur a bit, filling the room with just an oh-so pleasant odor, it seems more or less unharmed, just terrified at what the hell was just happening to it. But it sort of plods across the forge up toward the stairs where Cloak was, because you were up there with your blade when all of this was going down. And it just sort of comes right up to you and starts nudging you with his nose and giant bear sniffs.
So is it like it regenerated back into a full bear?
There is a full bear standing before you.
And he's not like charred bear or like glowing embered eyes or like
it's not like undead bear. It's not like
elemental bear.
It's not like elemental charcoal bear. It looks like brown bear with some singe spots on its fur. And now when it was climbing out of the ash, its eyes were sort of reflecting that gleaming light that was in the furnace, but that seems to be gone now.
Glaz, very confused, but also very curious because he is going to reach out and, not ritualistically, I'm going to actually cast it, is going to cast Identify, touch the well, we should probably know what this is before we mess with it and think and actual cast Identify.
What was that, Month?
Please do not burn yourself.
Okay.
He licks his finger first.
So you lick your finger, you take out your pearl, and you intone the spell, channeling the divinatory energies through the pearl itself to amplify your awareness. You reach out with your licked finger, you touch the stone, and there is indeed a hiss of the moisture on your finger kind of evaporating away because the thing is hot. You think that maybe you could handle it carefully if hey, Will's here, welcome. You could kind of, like, if you had to juggle it a little bit, you'd be all right. If you tried to hold it in your fist, you might get burnt. but it's not like red hot or anything at the moment. So you touch it, and a warm, almost burning sensation shocks through your finger. Very clearly it is magical. And immediately your awareness is flooded with what this thing does. So, Riordan, what are you up to while I give Glaz the lowdown on this thing?
Sorry.
Oh, sure. Then we'll go ahead and let everybody else do their thing while I send some information to Glaz.
Okay, I think I fixed it.
Okay.
By which method are you sending such things?
I'm going to find it, and then I will send it probably through the Twitters.
Okie dokie.
So yeah, you guys go ahead and do your thing while I get this sorted out.
You see Glaz sort of glaze over a little bit as he processes what is going on.
Is the casting time on Identify a minute, or
it is 1 minute?
It is one.
Yeah,
right, so he's doing this,
but it's 1 minute.
He's doing this for a little while. Yeah, he's chanting, and you see kind of bluish light beginning to gleam in the pearl, and you've seen him do this thing before.
Tilly, as Glaz kind of glazes over, is gonna sneak around the bear. Just gonna go and check the room, make sure the lens all right. Don't just bear. It's a big butt.
Right, so, are you gonna like give the bear a wide berth, or just kind of like carefully scooch by it?
As much of a berth she can with the stairs and everything, because I don't know how far.
Okay, so the chamber is a massive rectangle, and the stairs are like a three-sided rising platform, like almost like a ziggurat at the far end. So if the bear's on the right side, you can just kind of scooch down on the left, and you can give it a 10-20 foot berth if you want.
Okay, at a good 20-foot berth, shield still in the bear's way. I'm just gonna get some water, maybe check on ID. How did bear?
Okay. Apologies for the format goobers here, Tall Squall, but this thing is coming in just a moment.
Are you sure that we should be taking this bear with us, Cloak?
Oh yeah, no, it'll be fine. It's laughing stuff. It's all good.
Hasn't it died and attacked you once before?
No, it never attacked us. I made friends with it, like last time.
So it's just sort of like sniffing at Cloak's mask and his shoulders, and like snuffling at the hood of his cloak, where all of that moss and greenery is sort of sprouting and growing. And it kind of licks his hand for a moment, and then as Tilly goes clanking and muttering down the other side of the stairwell, the bear stops and swings his head over and just kind of watches her as she goes.
Bear.
Rowan's going to put her hand forward towards Fluff and stuff for him to sniff.
All right. Yeah. So he kind of, after Tilly sort of makes her way down the stairs and just starts walking toward the door and shooting glances over her shoulder every now and then, probably. The bear watches you for an uncomfortably long time as you make your way out of the chamber, and it kind of drags on a little bit because the damn room is so big. But eventually, the bear looks back over to Rowan and kind of begins to snuffle at your outstretched claw.
Can I roll insight on why the bear is acting like that?
Sure.
Because it's a bear.
Nat 20. Wow.
Hey, nice. Okay. So it's a little difficult to get a read on a bear, but you know, this one you've actually have a little bit of a rapport with from the time you spent with it months ago. But if you didn't know any better, you would say that there was some sort of recognition. Like, it looks almost like you would expect someone's dog to look when it noticed them coming home after weeks. Without, you know, it didn't get that energetic, but that had the kind of vibe through its body language and kind of its facial expression.
I look at Puff Puff, and I was like, did you see that? In Sylvan.
And she says in Sylvan, kind of like her muzzle snaps the words out in a strange way, but she does manage to articulate speech, and she says, "Yes, I saw it. That was very weird."
Let's go! Come on, fluffing stuff! And then start walking after Tilly.
This is an awful idea.
All right. So, the bear was not trying to kill you before, Will. Initially, it was trying to kill you.
Right.
It was sort of a chance battle in the woods with a hungry hunting pair, which Cloak diffused by casting this charm spell on it. He cast Animal Friendship on it then, and you guys used it to devastating effect against the kobolds and bandits that had taken up residence in this place.
Yeah.
And then it ate a dragon breath full in the face, and that was...
Well, it burned to death, yeah.
Yeah. Yep, but that bear has now risen from its own ashes. So about this time, Glaz, you kind of have this shuddering shock run through you as probably the most potent magic item you've ever encountered. Just sort of, you absorb some of its essence into your mind to fully understand its purpose, its function, its place in the multiverse, and you snap out of your little trance at that moment. As Bear and Puff and Cloak goes skipping out the door after Tilly.
Glaz sort of goes, oh, wow.
Are you okay?
Another hit of that. So it's
slippery slope.
So, real Dan. I think I understand you a little better now after reaching out and wow. Okay, there we have it. Wow.
I'm not encouraging the beginning of any drug habits here. We've already had one.
Oh, yeah, no, it's, well...
She's a good enabler.
Yeah, but, so, anyway, this is, wow. I don't know where it came from. Maybe it fell through from the plane of fire, perhaps. But yeah, this is like some heavy stuff here. It explains the bear. This here is a petrified phoenix egg.
I take a look at that, Dan. Is that the kind of thing where it's like I've snorted like 5 phoenix eggs in my life? Sort of like, yeah, whatever. Like glass Phoenix is super, like hardcore, but.
No, not at all.
Okay.
As far as you know, you've never snorted any phoenix egg. And as far as you know, you've maybe heard stories of.
I might not be the authority on it, though.
But yeah, as far as you know, they're incredibly rare, even to the point of mythical creatures, which in a D&D world is kind of saying something. That. Are supposedly birds of fire, like composed of this living fire that never goes out, and when it dies, it explodes and then is reborn from its own ashes in the aftermath.
So yeah, no, it's not an actual drug, Rio. Then it's the magic. It is. Can you not feel it? I mean, it's like I'm sitting over here, and it's like, woof, baby.
It is quite potent.
Yeah, it is quite potent. Well, so
what do we do? Are we taking this with us?
Yeah, I'd ask probably Paula if I could borrow her tongs.
Yeah, of course. So she reaches over, picks up her forged tongs, and hands them over to you.
Well, because it's kind of warm, and if you've got actually, he now has his new lead sort of containers that he now uses for the Nullifier's lexicon. So I'd say probably one of his heavier canvases that he used to wrap like the Nullifier's lexicon in. Since this pretty much stays warm all the time, he's going to basically a fireproof blanket it, wrap it up and go, yes, we definitely want to take this with us. It is, wow. Yeah. Good stuff. Yeah, we've got good things that come from this.
So you scoop that up. It's probably not hot enough at this point to actually catch the canvas on fire, so that's good. A few minutes ago, it probably
He's got
was.
scrolls, notes, and paper, glass. He's extra careful.
Oh yeah, sure. So we're going to jump out to the next room over. So through the main hallway with all of those carved reliefs of plate armor and various different types of armor, not just plate, all different kinds on display in the carvings, as well as all different kind of weapons, showcasing the things that used to be made here when the halls of Everforge were in full operation. So Tilly, you've gone down a couple of doors to. Oh, hello, Ladybug. You have gone to the area that you guys cleared out and were using as a campsite. Where was it? Heidi.
Heidi.
Heidi, where Heidi the lamb was, and she is in there, just sort of like poking around one of the corners where you guys pushed some of the larger chunks of rubble, and she's kind of awkwardly scrabbling around trying to climb these big chunks of broken stonework that probably used to be tables. And then, as you're checking on her and sort of assuring yourself that she's all right, you hear the massive paw steps of the bear coming up behind you, and it's heavy breathing, and you hear the little click, click, click of Puff Puff trotting along, and there's Cloak leading a menagerie towards you.
Tilly shuffles across the room as quickly as she can and tries to pick up Heidi to put her around her shoulders, like that's gonna be fine. Just your animals on that side of the hole, mine on this side.
No,
so,
they're not. What?
I know bears. Bears are carnivores. They definitely eat the meat. This is meat, but this is Heidi. She was given to me. It's a gift. Don't let the bear eat it, I guess.
I suppose technically you bought her.
Debatable, not really debatable, but we'll say debatable.
Right. So the lamb kind of wiggles and bleats a little bit as you pick her up and sort of drape her over your shoulders like a little fluffy shawl, and the bear starts to like squeeze his way in. So the doors here are pretty large. Not that big, so he kind of has to and like shuffle and push its massive shoulders through the doorway. And the doors are massive, heavy stone numbers with iron pull rings set into them, and they're all perfectly counterweighted. So even though they're like 6 inches thick stone, you can pull them without too much effort. It just kind of snorting and scratching its claws pushes its way into the kitchen, which suddenly feels much smaller now that this large beast has shoved its way inside. And it just kind of keeps walking and plods towards you.
I assume this isn't like your dog. You can't tell it to not come try to eat my lamb?
It's not here to eat the lamb. He recognizes you.
If he eats my lamb, I'll eat your dog. Not really. I wouldn't do that, but don't do it.
Puff Puff says, I hope not.
I wouldn't.
How can you speak so clearly now? We have to talk about that. Okay.
So the bear shuffles forward, leans down, and sniffs you. Giant bear nostrils. You feel it kind of like pulling at the little bottom bit of your braid as it inhales. And
his paws are like sweating. Just, that's a bear. That's a big bear.
So it sniffs at you for a little bit, and then licks the side of your face.
Oh.
And then just sort of like shakes its head and shoulders a little bit, and then just starts like looking around and like scratching over at little piles of rubble and just sort of doing curious bear things at the moment. It seems much calmer than it was before, and is just kind of sniffing its way around, and occasionally looks back toward Cloak, and then goes back to scrabbling about, and then occasionally looks over at you and just is kind of hanging out, being a bear.
Tilly just kind of eyeballs Cloak.
Oh, so when did you meet this bear?
I literally have only met the dancing bear at the inn, and I don't know if it's bear. I don't know this bear. What?
Fluff and Stuff, can you dance?
So the bear pretty much ignores you.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
Is the bear still close to me a little bit, or is it kind of plotted around the room?
No, it's kind of plotted around the room. It's like it's back around. So this room is almost like a suite. It has an archway that goes into a second room that the rest of you know there's a secret. Well, the people who were here before know that there's a secret door over there that leads to what Paula referred to as the room full of guardians. Don't mess with them. So
Okay.
as you guys recall, it was an armory that was all but destroyed with the suit of plate armor hanging from a hook and swords.
Tilly's gonna like kind of inch her way over to the bear, and she's gonna she's gonna try to like touch it to like pet it a little bit.
Touch it. Its fur is kind of coarse and wiry. It's not like silky domesticated animal that eats egg whites hair. And it sort of turns over towards you and like leans against your pat or your scratch.
Tilly like eagerly scritches it and turns and looks at Cloak. She's like, I got the pale bear. I got a bear I can pet. This is wonderful. Oh,
Do you want to domesticate this bear?
She looks at her lamb. I'll think about it. I don't know. That's big. That's big rental boat. I have a very small boat. I don't know. But
Here's the thing. If you put armor on it and ride it into battle, how fucking cool do you look?
That would be really cool.
In fact, Tilly, now that he says this, you're a reaver, so you spend most of your time on the sea when you're doing battle-type things, so this really isn't your particular bag, but you have heard of some dwarves that actually do break and ride bears into battle.
I mean, we'll have to organize a bigger boat to get it him, her, it on the sea, but I wouldn't mind having a bear. I mean, horses are a little awkward to just trot along. I wonder how do you domesticate a bear? What do you do there? Asking Cloak.
Carefully.
She just keeps petting.
All right. So while they're doing that, back in the main forge hall, Paula at this point has begun packing up her equipment. And actually, she just kind of sat down for a little while and drank heavily out of a large jug of water that she had set aside nearby, because she's been exerting pretty heavily for the past 3 days solid, and quite a bit today, since they've just finished the enchantment of Cloak's Blade. What are the rest of you guys doing, kind of in that main hall?
That was really nice work, Paula. You've certainly went above and beyond to help us out here again.
She looks up and smiles a little bit and says, well, thanks. I mean, I owe you quite a bit, so I don't mind the extra effort.
I think nothing of it.
But I'll admit, for the opportunity to fire up my family's forge again, particularly that you all were here, just in case anything went wrong, as happened in the past. I couldn't pass that up.
Well, who is to say what is wrong and what is right? Seems to be lots of mystery around this forge.
Well, I would think that getting attacked would have been something going wrong.
Well, when the forge was originally abandoned, it was because several Ifriti came through from the Plane of Fire and tried to take it.
Well, that would certainly be.
I'll do a number on the place.
I mean, you could look on the bright side. They could have made the forge a bit hotter.
So now that when Rowan says that, a couple of you think back to that destroyed armory room where there was those couple of pristine things which now are actually constructed creatures. The rest of the armor and weapons in there were charred and damn near melted. So, yeah. All right.
So quite a history you have here with your family and your forge. But if you need to light it again, certainly I'm always here to help and or lend out the Heart of Flame. It is truly, kind of yours. I guess I'm just keeping it for you.
As I said before, right? As I said before, I don't much want to keep it, so I'm happy for you to have it. But I appreciate knowing that you'll help me if I ever need it.
Well, not really. It's not really us. I mean, mostly it's Tilly, isn't it, Glass? I mean, she's been the one that sort of runs the whole show. I mean, we were a mess. You know, there was a whole fight. Everything was going wrong, and then she came along, and things have been really different since.
Briadan, give me a charisma persuasion check.
Nice.
I found God because of her.
I was going to say, have you seen her change? I get an advantage by saying, have you seen her change on the real, Dad? You saw what the mess he was.
I was awful, and now I'm just bad. 8. Damn it, I'm so good at that.
You can.
Rowan is playing a straight man.
Yes.
And is saying, what are you talking about?
There you go. So as you guys say that, she chuckles a little bit and kind of looks toward the door where Tilly and Cloak and the animals wandered off to, and she says, "Somehow that doesn't surprise me." Well, I think we're more or less finished here. Do you? I suppose you all have a task to complete for Baba Yaga. I suppose so. Technically, I didn't get any tokens from her, so I don't think I'm bound by her agreement. But I'm not going to argue against you doing this, and I'll help in any way I can.
I would think what you have done to outfit Cloak is certainly payment enough, and quite frankly, I do not. If you are not obligated to this task, I don't think we can ask you to risk yourself to join us in this.
Well, that's generous of you, but I suppose I'm not waiting for you to ask me.
Yes, that's probably best as well.
Would you like me to ask you?
No, I mean I'm coming along. So why don't we get our things together? If
okay.
If this thing is off in the forest somewhere, I'll follow your lead. I'm not very woods crafty, so I'm not going to be much help tracking it down. But
there is the matter, Cloak.
He seems upset.
Just, I believe we've got some convincing to do with Cloak. He also did not seem as though he was going to partake in this.
Well, that's probably your conversation there, Glaz. I never much one for convincing Cloak to do much. Probably you're the only one that could convince him to do something he didn't want to do. And it seems like he really doesn't want to do it. I seem to remember one time he told us some backstory about his grandma or his mother, a Cloak. I don't know. It was a long time ago and I wasn't listening. But it seemed important. And connected.
Yes. Glaz shrugs his shoulders, realizing that, yeah, that's probably going to be him. Yes.
I'm not very good with people. I can't convince them to do anything.
Are you certain about that?
Yep. Especially in this case. Because I don't want to talk to him.
You did so well with your friend and your breakup. I thought maybe, never mind. Okay.
Well, you know, I'm more of a putter together than a breaker-upper.
Paula is kind of packing all of her stuff away and is just sort of occasionally casting glances over at the two of them as they banter, and is just sort of grinning to herself as she gets everything packed and stowed.
Yes,
she says, looking over at Rowan.
You said this was your family's forge.
That's right.
How many years ago? You must have some stories about the Margrave, if this is your family's forge?
Well, I do know some stories, of course, and I was here when I was very young, but that's when the attack came from the plane of fire, and we fled.
Everything changed when the fire.
When the fire plane attacked, yeah. Yep. The Emir Ozai of the Brass City came to. I know a lot of the stories of the Margrave, and I know that my people understood better how to navigate around it without running afoul of it. It's very old, and it's alive in a strange way. We had to be very careful to keep all of our forge equipment well inside our structure. If we ever brought the fire out into the forest itself, we ran into trouble. But I think Cloak has been taking care of things pretty well. He seemed to know what had to be done to get us here, got us through just fine.
Yes, and I learned my lesson about the heart of flame.
Yeah, make sure you keep that shuttered up nice and tight.
Yeah.
How could the forest have even allowed your family to build the forge if it is so fire adverse?
Well, you can't think of the forest like it's a person, really, because it's not. It doesn't think or even exist on that same level. So it's possible that when my people long back laid the foundations for this hold, they did everything they had to do to appease the forest. Perhaps it was comfortable with them being here. There are people who live and toil and spend their whole lives in the Margrave. They're often a strange folk, but they manage it. It's usually the outsiders coming in to do things like log and hunt and poach that run into trouble.
Have you heard stories about what happens when people remove things from the forest?
All kinds of terrible things can happen. People can get lost for days, weeks, sometimes even longer. I've heard stories of people wandering into a misty glade in the Margrave and either never coming back again or maybe even coming back decades later. It's the stones and trees and animals themselves can turn against you. All sorts of things can go nasty in here if the forest takes a hate to you.
Well,
Best we go kill this fiend then.
Kill the fiend and maybe not remove the bear from its natural habitat.
Well, I thought we were killing the bear. I thought they were taking it out back to kill it. Like a horse. That's what I was gonna. Okay, I will not use that spell. Well, next time I see the bear.
In any event, I can't imagine that the forest is happy with a demon present in it. Getting rid of it will probably earn you some good graces, at least.
That's what I'm all about, baby.
Good graces or destroying demons?
Bit of column A, bit of column B, especially if it's a heretic demon. Yeah. Then they all have to die. That would be unpleasant for the demon. And its babies, if they're babies. Kill them all as well. Burn them, maybe. Or flail them first.
Wow.
Please do not burn them all.
Sorry, what did I say? Get carried away sometimes.
Other times is a little terrifying, Riordan. I need to go find Cloak.
I agree. I will be coming with you.
So,
actually, it might be best if we bring Riordan with us so that he does not ask Paula if she's a heretic.
She looks up and says, "Not one scrap of heresy here, friends. Devout follower of Voland."
All right. You guys go ahead.
And he's
really
going
just
to,
like,
he's grabbing her down by the scruff of the neck like a kitten, and is gonna drag him along.
Fine.
All right, so Rowan grabs you by the grabs you by the back of your armor and starts dragging you back.
That collar's expensive.
All right, so Paula doubles down on her packing, gets everything squared away, and you all kind of start making your way back into the other sections of the hall. Yes, Cloak.
I want to talk to Puff Puff and Sylvan.
Sure.
I want to look at her as, you know, we have the little bit of the bear and Tilly playing with each other with the lamb around her neck. It could only end, greatly at this point. So I would look at her and be like, so did grandmother give you a gift?
No, she gave me that food. I ate the meat she gave me, and I chewed the bone. And it was after that that I started speaking. I know you probably think I spoke to you once before when you were digging up dead things, but I actually didn't. That wasn't me. I don't understand what that was. That was a trick.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, when was that?
If you remember, when you guys dug up the vampire spawn and were speaking dead with it, there was a point where Puff Puff actually responded to you verbally.
What did she say? I don't remember.
God, it's been a while. She basically answered your question, like you said something in Sylvan, and she responded to you.
Oh, okay. So you don't know Sylvan?
No, I do. I understand it. I couldn't ever speak it before, but now I can. So I assume it's something that grandmother did. She seemed very happy when I spoke. She said it worked.
I'm going to roll Arcana.
Sure.
And it was... Puff Puff spoke common as well, didn't she?
She did,
yeah.
Yep. Sorry, what was your roll result?
16.
16? All right, so what are you wondering? Just like...
if grandmother had been monitoring Puff Puff this whole time.
Monitoring? I mean, it's entirely possible that Baba Yaga could be scrying on you. Certainly, since people ate her food and drank her drink and took her trinkets.
Her scry shouldn't still be able to see me, I don't think.
Probably not, no.
But my thought is before, when she said something, but she didn't say she said something, right? That was something else. So he's more curious of, like, if grandmother influenced her from a long time back.
I will say
or
that
if, like,
you don't
also
see
stuff with Faye.
Any what? Sorry.
Oh, like, so since she's a Fae, would grandmother also have an effect on Fae like that?
I mean, it's like, you mean giving her the ability to speak,
or I don't know, like something. So it's like paranoia is coming up.
I'm having trouble giving you information because I'm not sure what you're asking about in regards to the Arcana roll.
I think it's more what happened at that time that would have influenced Puff Puff to talk.
Oh, like when you were digging up graves?
Mm-hmm.
Nothing that you remember seeing or doing would directly equate to that.
Yeah, and so, like, also his knowledge of grandmother, like, would grandmother or Baba Yaga have some sort of effect over Fae creatures where she can, like, enhance them?
She can do all kinds of crazy stuff, man. I mean, you've heard of hags and their covens being able to do some just weird, twisted magic, and Baba Yaga is quite literally the grandmother of them all. So, almost nothing is off the table, really. Now, as far as Baba Yaga influencing Puff Puff to do that fake speaking in the graveyard, sure, she could, but why would she? She wouldn't have known who or what or where you were, so there would be no real reason for her to have done that. No reasonable way for her to have done that, like to have known to do it.
Okay. So I would look at Puff Puff and be like, what do you remember about that time?
Well, I remember that you were all very upset about a vampire who's in Zobek, and you were looking for someone who'd been murdered. And you found out where she was buried, and you hoped that you could speak to her corpse and find out more about someone else who was missing, maybe dead. And so you went and dug her up, and then Rowan did her magic and made the corpse talk.
Yes, but what made you talk?
I didn't. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That I know it
Like
looked
your
and
mouth?
sounded like I said. No, I didn't move. I couldn't. It was a trick. Something played a trick.
Something played a trick. What played a trick? Oh, fuck. This isn't good. All right. All right, so grandmother gave you a gift, and she gave you the gift of speech. And more intelligence?
I mean, no, I think I can just talk now. I understand everything the same as I did, I think.
So you're going to have to go with them.
Probably, I suppose.
Yes.
Or, I mean, if you really don't want to, if you really want to let them go fight the demon alone, I'll stay with you, and I guess we'll just hope that grandmother doesn't notice or doesn't care.
No, she'll notice.
Then hope she doesn't care. I mean, after all, I'm not important, so...
Of course you're important. You're important to me.
She kind of lolls her tongue out and her tail wags.
Okay, so...
So you're having... One side note, you're having this conversation in Sylvan?
Yeah.
Okay, so Tilly, yeah, he and Puff Puff are just jabbering to each other in this strange
I can hear Puff Puff,
language.
but obviously I can't.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know so, but I can hear that the dog is talking.
Oh yeah,
now.
yeah.
Still,
Puff Puff is talking.
her, she's just like eyeballing Cloak, and she's eyeballing Puff Puff. Like, what the hell is going on? You got a bear out of ashes.
Did you say you're still scratching the bear?
Yeah, the whole time, just like not let go.
At this point, he's actually flopped onto his side and rolled onto his back, and you had to back up a couple steps or get squished. Oh, yeah. And he's kind of turned his belly towards you, and his both back legs are just sort of kicking in the air as you scratch him.
I know.
It's adorable.
I really want to. But I got bear out of the ashes. No offense, the dog can talk. I don't understand what is happening. I think we should go back and probably get out of here. I mean, I did finish at the floor. She's like mumbling to herself, like the hammer has spoken to her. She drinks some weird tea from Baba Yaga, thinking this is probably what's all going on. Now the dog can speak, but the bear experience is really cool. So, I mean, for the ride, but I just don't. I gotta go tell Roland about this. This is so weird.
There's a lot of weirdness going on. So as you guys are chattering, and the rest of you are coming down the hallway at this point, so you can hear this Sylvan conversation happening. And Puff Puff says, I guess I should be a little more clear. I could speak before, just not in this kind of language. My kind, blink dogs, you call us. We can communicate with each other. We have a language, I guess you could call it.
So don't speak Sylvan.
I mean, I always understood it, but I couldn't. My mouth usually can't make the words, but now it can.
So if Rowan's coming down, then she would hear this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
She'll reply in Sylvan. Well, if it's anything like the language of the Hugin folk, like myself, then it would be more communicating in body and noises, not so much words.
I guess, but
Well, and he would look at Puff Puff and be like,
so what do you want to do?
Well, she kind of sits down, and you've never seen the expression on a dog's face while it sort of stops to think, but she does. Like her eyebrows kind of pinch together a little bit, and she closes her mouth, and she just kind of like breathes through her nostrils for a moment. She says, I think I'm in this whole thing because I like traveling with you. And through that, I think that your friends are wonderful, and I think they mean more to both of us than maybe we've let on. So if you're really comfortable letting them fight a demon alone, I'll go with you, but I don't think I'll like it.
Well, here's the issue. Fuck grandmother, okay? I'm not doing her bidding.
Well, here's one way to look at it.
It might not be her bidding solely. It might also be the bidding of the Margrave.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you know who the fucking Margrave is? Grandmother!
Once Cloak starts piping up in this language that Tilly doesn't know, she stops petting and she goes, okay, secrets don't make friends. I don't know what you're talking about, but I would like for you guys to let me know at least what's getting Cloak angry. I don't understand it. Please, somebody please.
He does not want to fight the demon because
Puff Puff says, that's reasonable.
I mean, I don't want to fight a demon. I would prefer not to, but I mean, I know that you do. You like fighting everything.
I can tell you it'll be a good notch in your armor, but I mean, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be I'm probably gonna be tough. I don't really fight a demon, am I? It just kind of goes back and then mumbling about this is all really weird. Trying to get a big old ale, a large one. Bear, do you like ale?
It just when you talk to it, it just kind of goes. Murph.
I'll take that as a yes. Hi.
So yeah, you all
you're really good.
Well, your lines are muted.
I'm really
on cue. Glass says ale into the alchemy jug for Tilly and I guess the bear.
Glass hands you
a bear drunk.
Glass hands you the alchemy jug with the lid popped, full of ale. Foamy, dark brown, delicious ale.
I don't know what they're going to say, but it's going to be... We'll get through it now, won't we? All right. So fight the demon, all right. Cloak doesn't want to. It's okay. I don't blame you. But, you know.
Point, Rowan's going to nudge Glass forward. Well.
So Puff Puff at this point looks at Cloak and says in common, do you think this is a conversation you should have with them?
Here's the thing, right? If we both leave, grandmother's going to be chasing you as well. So that's a decision you need to consciously make right now. I can't make that decision for you.
Maybe. Again, maybe. You know grandmother better than most, although sometimes I think maybe you don't think too clearly about her, which I get.
Well, I think that the issue is that if we, grandmother, you might punch her in the face and she's like, I don't care. Or you look at her the wrong way and then she eats your children. That's what you fucking get, right? So it's a gamble, but I'm not doing your bidding.
and I look at everyone else.
Well, so here's the thing. You're not doing her bidding. Whatever you decide to do is your call. Grandmother didn't make a deal with you. She didn't offer or give you anything. You don't owe her anything. So whatever you decide to do is your choice, right?
Yes.
So yes, maybe killing this fiend will help grandmother in some way. I mean, that makes sense, especially if it is from the Master of Demon Mountain, like she said she thinks it might be. But really, that helps more people than just grandmother anyway. Demons are bad for everything, right?
Was it a demon or a devil?
She said demon.
There are good people on both sides.
Puff Puff growls at Ryuden.
I met a really good devil once. Excellent deals.
Yeah, no, devils.
He was literally a dealer.
They make deals, right? They when demons. Demons. Fuck demons.
Demons are something else.
Yes, that. Just like grandmother.
I feel like demons and grandmother deal in chaos, but deal with it in different ways. And there seems to be a method or measure to her madness at times.
I'm going to leave this to fate.
Ooh. Oh. So I guess here's the decision you have to make. Do you want to spite grandmother, or do you want to help your friends?
Tilly whispers towards Rowan, why doesn't he want to fight a demon?
Because
he thinks that... I'm sorry.
Well, doing it at... Oh, no. Glaz, you know him best.
I'm glad everyone knows what I'm thinking.
No, she told me you don't want to fight. I'm sorry.
You're not exactly subtle half the time.
Maybe if you're in my shoes, you would understand.
I mean, that'd be hard to get small feet, no offense, but, I mean, what do you mean?
Can't wear shoes.
You guys are so fucking stupid sometimes.
I mean, I do have a -2 in wisdom, so...
The fuck is a -2?
I'm classically trained.
I'm just saying, man. I don't understand. I mean, we got it in the bag. I mean...
At that point, he would he'd look at Puff Puff and say,
I mean, you guys just very easily accepted these gifts, just like no problem at all.
I mean, were we supposed to say, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I can't take it"?
Excuse me, I'm talking to my conscience right now, Puff Puff.
So Puff Puff has kind of settled down and has laid her chin on her paws, and she kind of lifts her head up, sits up a bit when you start talking to her, and she says, well, I think in my case it's a little different. She just offered me something to eat the same way she offered your friend's tea. She didn't ask me if I wanted to take her token. She just gave it to me. I didn't agree to anything. I don't know if that'll matter, or if she'll care after the fact. But again, I'm not sure she'll care about me at all.
No, more than likely she would want to keep you.
And she probably would have already done it, right? And she kind of looks around and you can see the fur on the back of her neck kind of prickle up.
But other people be in danger. Yada yada, good stuff. Blah blah blah. Okay, I'll go.
Puff Puff kind of stands up and comes over and nuzzles her muzzle under your hand.
He pets her and he looks at everyone else. He's like, "All right, when do we leave?"
I knew you could do it, Glass.
Yes. Good on you, Cloak. He just he sneaks a little treat over to Puff Puff.
Yeah, she snaps it right out of your fingers.
You took something else from grandmother. You made a conscious choice to make a deal with her just because you're trying to chase your own goddamn fucking glory.
Well, that's another conversation, and one which I might actually agree with Cloak about. But I don't think it's now.
Was that Glass? Did he do that? Is he the bad one?
Yes, Riodan, I am. We should have been friends long ago.
You're making deals with Baba Yaga. You're smoking phoenix eggs. I'm down for it.
What? Smoking phoenix eggs? Why would you kill a phoenix and smoke it?
Oh, we have a phoenix egg.
Don't have to kill it.
Why do we have a phoenix egg?
It's
irrelevant.
Kind of slipped from the plane of fire into the forge.
So are we going to raise the phoenix?
Back. I don't think it can. I think it might be petrified. Is that what you said, Glass?
Yes, it is.
So,
it is a dead petrified stone phoenix.
So
we
it's
can
a stone phoenix.
We can neither raise it nor scramble it.
Pretty much.
Can we turn it into a weapon?
Well, it's why we have the bear. And he gives it a scritch. It's the answer to the bear.
Wait, so
Yeah, so
now we can get revived?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Or if we get dead, we can get revived.
Well, sort of, yes.
That's all I need to know.
I wonder how much it would. What kind of dead would it bring back? I mean, it seemed to bring back the charred remains of. It brought back the charred bones and the remains of this bear, so it is obviously quite powerful.
Oh yeah, you should take a hit off of it. It's really good.
Oh, that's very. That what the fuck? What? Have you? I think you've been hanging out with Riordan too much.
See, we are the bad boys, right? Riordan, he goes to put his arm around Riordan.
Are you gonna? Wait. Let's hear this. Are you gonna like check out some books and then not turn them in so they're overdue?
Heavens, no. Why would you think such a thing?
We're not going to go to the library.
Yeah, I'm not like on all evil. They would take away my library card. Glass storms out of the room offended. Go all attack.
Sure.
What do you think I am?
Rita goes into his like coat pocket and shows all the library cards that he sells. Real villains have 12.
Good lord!
So much.
All right, so Glaz and Paula get the last of the forge equipment and their bits of the camp broken and packed away, and so the rest of you can get ready to travel in pretty short order. And now it is up to you to decide where you want to go from here.
Well, I kind of look to Cloak. You are the best at tracking.
Would you like me to give us a...
Maybe go east, west, east. For some reason,
I can probably do
I was so scared of Baba Yaga, I took no notes. It's like I literally, it's like my notes leave off at the thing, the pretty women showing up, and then it's like, and then we're at the forge. I mean, literally, I blacked it out.
Okay,
I don't even have the name of my ring.
You don't?
No, I apparently did not take a single note. I was so freaked out.
Do you remember the name of your ring?
Tea is a hell of a drug.
Tea is a hell of a drug.
It's Walker. It's Walker is what you guys decided to call him.
Yeah, he said his name.
All right. Well, you kind of gleaned that with an identify spell, and that seemed to resonate with him. Okay, so what she told you is that the creature she wants you to slay is in the Margrave to the west of your destination, which she probably meant the halls of and she said it was not quite to the mines.
That's right.
So you guys know that there are a couple of mines in the vicinity of Castle Shadowcrag, but one of them is kind of farther over. The one you're looking at is called Veslau, the Veslau Mines.
I know where those are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably head near there and see if there are any demons around.
Yeah. Start taking everyone that way.
Okay. All right. So you all strike your camp finally after hashing out what at least is your next course of action, and you want to strike out immediately for the rest of the day that you have to travel.
Yeah. Also, my sword. What? Let me see if I wrote stuff down about it.
What did you need to check?
What kind of sword it was?
It has it's a scimitar, but it has the. Or sorry, you do scimitars, right? Is that right?
Saber.
Or do you do rapiers?
Rapier / saber. It's a saber.
Right. It's a saber. It's a slashing damage rapier. Right. So its enchantment is that of a flame tongue.
Okay, I gotta look up flame tongue real quick because I think it's a D6.
Right. So Cloak leads you guys off toward the Veslau mines, and once again, as before, he leads you expertly through the dense old growth of the Margrave. And this is like massive old oak tree trunks, hundreds of year old growth and dense underbrush. But he manages to just pick his way through, finding, if not game trails, then the places where the brambles are thinnest or where they happen to break naturally. And he basically just creates a winding road through the forest for you. So it doesn't slow your travel at all. The travel is, I don't know, what's everybody's sort of attitude? Are you just kind of traveling in silence? Are you, chatting, just sort of passing the time as you go? What's sort of the
I
overall...
sidle over to Tilly at some point, but Glaz, you can go if you need to.
Oh, I was just
give me a general overview of your mood as you're traveling through the woods.
Pretty good. Glaz is probably distracted as he attunes to the Phoenix Ember.
Okay, so you are going to attune to that. All right then.
Okay.
Jeez, Glaz, how come your mum lets you have 2 magic items?
Well, because he picked it up and nobody stopped him, I guess.
It's magic.
Talking the fire item.
Yeah.
All right, so then, yeah, you have, over the course of an hour or so, you feel this burning sensation sort of run through your body, but it doesn't frighten you. It's actually invigorating. And you can kind of feel the pulsing heat from the stone wherever you have it stowed.
Okay. Actually, is Walker taking a 2-minute slot?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, I thought so. I just wanted to make sure because yeah. Cool. Just double checking.
So, is that 3 attuned for you?
No, it's only 2.
No, just 2. Okay.
Because the the dragon tooth dagger does not require attunement.
Does not require attunement. Got it. So yeah. So what's everybody else's just sort of overall mood for the first hour or so? Glaz is pretty subdued, just kind of within himself for a little while, and then he might perk up a little bit after that's done. Tilly, what's kind of your overall just mood traveling through this old wood?
What a great mood. She could pet a bear the whole time. She's like trying to bridge the relationship between the bear and the lamb, just like getting the lamb close and be like, okay, no, all right, maybe we'll wait again later.
So as some time goes on, it looks like the bear isn't immediately interested in eating the lamb. It looks like brown bears, while they can do the carnivore thing, they have sort of a varied other base diet, like berries, nuts, insects, that sort of thing. They will eat meat, and they get a taste for it, and they'll forage, but that's not really their mainstay. Cloak, what's your overall kind of vibe?
I'm scouting, but I'm like, is the bear gravitating towards Tilly and not from me, even though I have a spell on it?
It's kind of bouncing between you. Anytime you sort of, as you're going on, whenever you kind of get its attention, it definitely comes over towards you. But unless you cast Speak with Animals, remember you can't like verbally communicate with it.
No, but I want to use my. Is it going to turn back from the spell soon?
No, you have 24 hours. You guys set out the same day, so he's charmed by you until tomorrow. Yep.
But he's I'm slowly going to just kind of train him to. It was a him, right? Yeah, it was him. Train him to follow Tilly's orders and to do that, and like have Tilly have control of it.
Okay. Why don't you give me a charisma animal handling check, and I'll give you advantage on that. Okay. All right. So that, yeah, we'll go ahead and have that do. And Fluff and Stuff just sort of picks up on it very quickly and definitely gravitates toward Tilly. All right.
Out of character.
So, yeah. All right, and so that done. I mean, you can try to ride him if you want. That done. What's kind of Cloak's overall deal as you travel through the forest for the rest of the day?
Scouting, finding the best route, and fastest, safest route. Literally, he's just focused on getting everyone to point A to point B.
Okay, so he's kind of put that conversation and everything you're doing sort of out of his mind, or he's just all in?
So this is his reasoning. Why he's going to do this. A, not for grandmother. B, his conscience said other people will get hurt. His conscience being Puff Puff. And then basically, and to help his friends, because they're important and they would die without him.
Sure. So he's just kind of resigned to all of that. Is he still kind of angry or resentful about having to do it at all, or is that just kind of stamped out?
It's not. He doesn't blame them for taking the gift at all, because it's going to be more something that like grandmother's very powerful, and if she can bring a whole nation to her knees, 4 people wouldn't stand a chance.
True.
And we would have struggled against 3 of her daughters, let alone her, would probably annihilated us in the blink of an eye. So he's still upset about it, but he's not holding a grudge.
Got it. It was just sort of a crappy situation, and you know they made the best of it. All right, cool. Okay, Rowan, what's your kind of overall mood traveling deeper into the Margrave Forest as night begins to fall?
Just a sort of quiet concern, and she's just playing with the runes in her hand, just kind of not reading them, but fiddling with them for comfort. When you absentmindedly are sort of playing with something to take your mind off things.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Riodan, what's how are you kind of feeling and carrying yourself?
Riodan's he's in a good mood. He's the problems of his not breakup are far behind him. He's not the worst one. Glaz is. He's now got a new bad boy friend that he's more than willing to train in the ways of being a terrible person.
Get some gang jackets made.
Yeah, for sure. He's oh my god, he's Barney from How I Met Your Mother. See that? Yeah. That's suddenly clicked into his ears. And yeah, he's helped to set up Tilly with Paula. So he's feeling good about himself. Yeah, he's confident and happy Riodan.
Okay, very good. All right, so Paula and Cloak had to spend most of the day finishing their work on his blade. And so it's already gotten on a bit into the day with everything that's happened, all the discussions you guys have had. And honestly, they're probably pretty tired because it's pretty. That is an exerting thing that they were doing, both physically and sort of mentally, pouring energy of yourself into creating a magic item. And so you guys probably find a place to camp relatively early, before dusk has really gotten underway. Cloak can find you guys a campsite with relative ease. You spend a relatively quiet and undisturbed night and actually get just good rest out amidst the old boughs of the Margrave. When you wake in the morning, assuming unless anybody wants to do anything in the night, you guys can strike out again. So this would be a great time for Cloak to tell me if he had any plan on trying to find this thing. Does anyone else have any plan on how you're going to try to find this thing?
Rowan's going to roll the bones.
Oh, okay.
May as well try and give us a head start. So we'll ask.
All right, so,
pray to Rowan and ask.
Are you casting an actual divination spell, or are you just going to try to use your fortune telling?
Okay, let me see what divination spells I have that could work. Is an augury going to work with this? I'm not sure.
I mean, not really. That gives you like good idea, bad idea.
I mean, it's a terrible idea, but we have to do it. I think just trying to get a sense of where it might be, and just through prayer.
Okay. All right. Go ahead and make me a wisdom check, please.
Okay. If I go really badly, I will use a crit, but so that's just straight up wisdom?
Yep.
Oh.
Well, there's your natural 20 anyway. All right. So let's say during breakfast, you take the rune bones, you shake them near the kind of dying embers of your low fire that you keep very well under control, dug into a fire pit, well away from the trees, making sure not to make the forest itself twitchy. You cast the bones, and they scatter about in the cleared dirt next to your fire ring, and you see an arrangement of runes that doesn't necessarily spell out, but it's an arrangement that says Loki.
Oh. If a raven could go pale, then her beak is just agape, and she's letting out this sort of low groaning. Well then.
Is this something about me?
Oh no, there's a bigger trickster than you about.
Is it Glass? Oh my god, he's not better than me, is he?
Not yet. But let's not get him on the benders that you were.
I still have a good.
Grazishan, are you familiar with you know gods? You are learned. The name Loki. I'm assuming you understand what that means.
Glass studied a little bit about his northern people. With this, I mean, Loki's big enough of someone that he would at least have heard about it in Bemia. Yeah,
you definitely recognize the name, and I will say that since your Bemian scholar specialty is runes and sigils, you recognize the runic configuration, and it's basically the name, the presence of Loki, the trickster, the god of fire, the bringer of Ragnarok. Yeah.
And actually, Glass, seeing that, sort of thinks to himself, and when things calm down a little later in the night, he's going to head over to Tilly. Sort of when he can, would it be very, just sort of subtle, maybe go over, scritch the bear, and then sort of start a private conversation with Tilly.
Sure.
Tilly, I've been thinking as we've been walking today, and Rowan's casting has sealed my mind in this. I think that you are the one who should carry this. And he hands her the phoenix egg.
Oh.
I mean, I don't know what to do with it, but I don't mind. I mean, if you're saying it's too heavy, it's okay. I don't blame you. If it's too heavy, I'll just carry it anyways, you know?
No, you're going to want to take a moment to let its energy suffuse you. You see, not that I've actually seen you fall in battle, but there is a first time for everything, and I think that you have the most survivability. Rowan is getting pretty impressive, but he's a bit reckless. I'm sorry, Riodan. I said the wrong name.
Okay, sometimes I do the same thing. Two odd names.
Yes, Riodan, Rowan. She's getting pretty impressive. Have you seen her new pants? Her little pigeon pants? They are pretty.
I saw her take the teeth of a vampire. It was crazy.
I know, right? You told me about that. You were drunk. Anyway, so here is what this does. If for some reason you fall in battle, you will not fall. This phoenix egg will keep you alive. Weakened, but alive. 1 hit point. But the nice trick of this one, if in fact you do fall, if something is strong enough to actually fell you, all of those in your immediate area, around 10 feet around you, are caught in a blast of fire damage that will emit from your fallen body. 5d6 to be exact.
So when you say all people, do you mean both friend and foe, or?
It says, oh no, enemies. Only your enemies take the damage. Your friends will not be affected.
It does say that.
Gotta protect my friends. I wouldn't take it if it was going to hurt anybody that I knew. But I mean, I will be. She leans in me close. I will be very clear with you. I'm probably not gonna fall in battle.
Well,
I'll take it off your hands.
Here is the zinger with that. That's it. Wait for the good part.
Okay.
You see, this doesn't just do one thing, and I think you're spreading the ability to bring back your fallen foes. Riodan has his ways. Rowan has her ways. Cloak even has his ways.
Oh, so what you're saying is, and she just kind of pipes up in voice, it doesn't only raise me, it'll potentially raise my friends if I want to use it that way?
Yes. It, in fact, not only can just,
there.
pop them back up if they fall in battle and you want to do a quick, hey, you don't go down yet. That works for that, Revivify.
So what do I do? Do I make them eat it? Or do I just touch them with it? Or do I go
I would assume it says you can cast a spell, which I believe all of these are touch spells.
Right.
Also, I just touch it with it.
So you have to touch the person, which I know might get you off the front line, but again, you can take a hit, right?
I mean,
I will say, but yes, you can bring back someone who has fallen in an immediate way, someone who has fallen in the last, I believe, 10 days on raised dead, or
so somebody who's been dead, somebody who's been oh, right. Sure.
Or,
did you hear is that bird? Is that an owl in the background? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm just practicing my warm-ups, my vocals.
It's Rowan throwing a tantrum.
Or if there is even some part left of a creature who has died long ago, I can do that as well.
All right, sure.
I can explain. I've written everything down on this lovely little instruction pamphlet. I tried to illustrate it as well, and I will. You can keep this so you will know.
I'm sure it's like perfectly pristine and like.
Oh, the penmanship is beautiful.
Because she kind of wads it and just like shoves it in the breastplate. I'll never forget how to use it. Then I was almost forgetting just then to say thank you. I mean, she opened up her bag and just kind of put it in there.
You'll find that in your chat bag. It's one of the things that.
Thank you very much. Ooh. I mean, I won't
enjoy that wall of text.
I was like,
I just scrape it and put it somewhere else so you can read it a little easier.
All right. So as you guys are conversing, Glaz, you notice a strange rustling in your pack, and you see you look back and you kind of get nudged over a little bit as Fluff and Stuff is like pawing at your pack and trying to like dig down toward the alchemy jug. Nope, you're muted.
The bear's an alcoholic now.
Yeah. I was gonna say, how much did he drink? It only has it has quite a few gallons in it. With whatever's left, he'll let him put his. Actually, he sort of goes. Looks like there's 2 mugs left. One for you and one for the bear.
All right. So I guess if you
because it's not till the next dawn that I can say something else.
Well, we were doing camping, so yeah. Whenever you want to do this. This was the day before, though. Okay. I mean, if you let Fluff and Stuff at the jug, he's going to take whatever's in there. So
yeah. I was going to say you're going to have to fight the bear for it, but hey, no. She hands it to Glass. Hands it to Till. Go here. Give it to the bear so you can like make friends and he'll be your mount and you can be like a bear mount because horses just trot and don't have claws.
I mean, I think I've already. And she like tries to like scritch the bear's side to get to roll over again to do the belly trick. See it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because its legs. I mean, look at the legs playing the banjo. It's like it's a god bear.
Tomorrow morning, it means that you can't have ale. But we can make the jar make honey.
Oh, turning honey into mead takes quite a while from what I know. But all right, sure.
I'm looking for the bear.
Oh, sure. Just scratching the bear.
All right.
I can't. It's just fluffy, just like my beard. I can't. It's just.
Okay, so Tilly, after you spend an hour during kind of a rest, after you guys get set for camp, kind of holding this fist-sized stone, and it's hot in your hands. You can actually feel its heat through your gauntlets as you hold it for a while. You kind of get lost in this mesmerizing, kind of flickering glow of this orange-red light in these almost like veins, like cracks through the stone egg, and eventually you feel that same warmth, that fiery warmth that Glaz felt. And Glaz, you suddenly feel, at night if you're camping and you're near a fire, like a bonfire, and then you walk out of it through the night towards somewhere else, that just cold that settles over you and you can feel it pressing in through your skin. You suddenly have that feeling when your attunement to the stone breaks. And in that moment, you have the full knowledge of how to use this thing. So you know that if you drop to 0 hit points, once per day, you can choose to drop to 1 hit point instead, and basically be reborn in a burst of flame. If you know that you can also use its 3 charges to cast Revivify for 1 charge, Raise Dead for 2 charges, or Resurrection for 3 charges. And you know that if you spend the last charge, you have to make a check, and it might regain a charge, or it might regain some charges, or it might shatter. Right, and the specifics of those spells, mostly the important one you need to know is Revivify. That one allows you to bring a creature back to life if it's only been dead for less than a minute. So it's kind of like the paddles. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. So you can defib someone who's who's been knocked down to death if you get to them very quickly.
Revivify is like fresh body, raised dead.
Yes.
After a little bit, and like resurrection is like
You're
Really did.
so the important one for you guys about the resurrection, hopefully it won't come into play anytime soon, is if their body is destroyed, those other spells don't work. But this particular version of resurrection will work even if there is just dust. As long as there is something left, it will rebirth them.
All right, cool.
Right. So, but it is not a true resurrection. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
Just a quick question, because I know it like gains a charge at dawn each dawn.
It does not gain a charge at dawn.
Oh,
if you burn the last charge, you roll a die. On a 20, it regains 1d3. If you roll a 1, it shatters. If you roll between there, it has no charges.
Okay. Oh, can't be used again until the following dawn. Sorry.
Right.
Cool. Never mind then.
Right.
Then I will retract my question. I was going to say, is it actually down to 0 charges because
it is actually down to 0 charges? Yeah.
Yeah, because it resurrected the bear.
Oh no. That was
it has
all...
3 charges now. Yeah.
It has 3 charges right now.
Yeah, it's at 3 charges now because I was thinking that it slowly would rebuild each morning, but never mind.
Nope.
Okay.
It is ready to go right now. Okay, so now the cloak is back. You all break your camp and you head back out into the forest once again. Do you guys have a plan for trying to find this creature? Rowan did a casting of her runes, and with a sign from Wotan, she got the sign of Loki, the trickster, and the god of fire.
And she not happy.
Yeah, not so good.
That's a bad thing.
Oh, to get the sign of the enemy of Wotan, I'm not sure what we should do.
Yeah, it's like a grudge match, Should be a good one.
But I'm the one who has to carry out. I'm the one who has to fight for him.
Rowan, listen. I consider myself to be a hunter of heretics, a witch hunter of sorts. I seek them out and kill them, and that is glorious. And you now have the opportunity to be me. I mean, how great does that sound? I mean, Glaz loves it.
Here's the thing. He's really good at hunting hairy ticks. I mean, I've never seen a hairy tick.
Terrible.
Yeah,
that's terrible.
I'm not going to...
We're done here.
That's everybody takes 10 psychic
privilege
damage.
that with a response.
All right.
You're welcome, everyone.
So yeah, do you guys have a thought on how you might try to track this thing down?
Yeah.
I
do, but I'm not going to share it.
Okay, the good news.
I do, but I'm not going to tell you.
I don't think I can track it, honestly. Because I took my plan was to take fiends as my second favorite enemy, but I ended up taking undead. So because that was where that's just pretty much what I ran into with this.
So if you're talking primeval awareness, it reveals fiends to you. It just doesn't give you pinpoint information or direction or anything like that. But it will tell you if there's such a creature present.
Yeah. Is Fluff and Stuff still under my spell? Because it's been a day.
Yeah, it's till you got a couple of hours left because it was sort of midday, later afternoon when you cast the spell.
What do I know is going to happen when the spell runs out?
You know that Fluff and Stuff will no longer have the charmed condition, and then will treat you however it would if it were not charmed. So, if you didn't screw with it and make it do horrible things and make it hate you while it was charmed, then things are probably fine. As it is, you were pretty nice to it and fed it and set it up with Tilly, who's been giving it beer and scritchens, so and honey, apparently. Yeah, they pop open a jar of honey and the bear just dives its whole head into the jug. Yeah, it probably finishes that gallon of honey in 2.5 minutes tops. You think that Fluff and Stuff will be favorably disposed towards you, at least. You don't think there's any danger of an attack or anything like that.
Okay, so my animal handling towards like trying to domesticate it for Tilly, that has an effect as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that all factors into how you've been treating it.
Okay, so I just want to know that. So I'm gonna spend as we get to the mine, spend a spell slot and use my primeval awareness.
Okay, so as you guys travel, probably for another couple hours throughout the morning, you stop for a quick midday meal, just to, either whatever Cloak can forage up, which is pretty decent in the Margrave. There's game aplenty, there's lots of edible plants and the like. Or if you want to expend your rations, you can chew on hardtack and jerky as well. After a quick cold lunch, you set off again, and after traveling for a little while, Cloak kind of draws his cloak about his shoulders and sort of wraps himself in it, and you can see it sort of slither around him and sort of wrap tightly around his ribs and hips, and he lowers his eyes, and you see this faint greenish flash in the depths of his mask, and your sense of the world and the forest around you, Cloak, just spreads from the soles of your feet through your boots down into the earth, and you can feel the roots of the trees and bushes underneath you spreading out like a web underneath the ground for miles and miles. Each tree root touches the roots of the next one over, and so forth. Its branches touch the next one, and your awareness just skates along those connections. You feel beasts prowling in the brush, birds flying overhead, insects. You see birds diving at prey. You feel the presence of otherworldly creatures. You sense somewhere distant that faint inkling of a dragon that you felt on your way here. Thankfully, it doesn't... you don't have an idea of where it is really, but it doesn't feel imminent. It feels distant. You feel a great presence of Fae, kind of bleeding in from other worlds and layering over this one. You sense the cold, dark touch of shadow in a few of the deeper, darker groves and caves and hollows of the Margrave, but also the brighter, more emotional, sort of vibrant energies of Fae. And you sense these more keenly than pretty much anything else. You do not detect any celestials, any fiends. You probably pick up a ping of an elemental, but you don't detect any undead other than Rowan, and you have a sense of her immediately nearby. But it's somewhat muddled, confused. Mm-hmm. You don't sense any fiends, and you get a good 5-mile radius with your... because this is your favorite terrain, or 6 miles, something crazy like that.
Yeah,
You get a giant area of awareness. You do not sense any fiends. You sense some nearby Fae, small, flittering presences that kind of move quickly. And then you get a strong feeling of a very old presence. Its presence sort of rooted in the forest. You can feel its energy sort of reaching deep, much like the trees around you. Mm-hmm. And it's not too far away. Maybe 300 feet.
And what kind of... Is it Fae?
It's Fae, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's a Fae ley line somewhere out and about. I don't sense any fiends, and there's a big something over that way.
Yeah, it's sort of off to the northwestish from you, and it's maybe 300 feet away.
Should we go investigate that?
That's probably our guy, right?
Oh, we're looking for a demon. I don't know what is
What
this
if it
exactly.
is not? What if it is not a literal demon, but rather something that grandmother was calling a demon, something that was accosting the forest?
Right. Like a metaphor.
Puff Puff kind of licks her lips and says, "She did say fiend, and she said she suspected the master of Demon Mountain of sending it."
Also,
I don't know. I don't know who that is, but it sounds literal.
That might not be a metaphor.
I'm telling you, I can sense things for miles, and I don't sense feelings. I sense a dragon way the fuck over there.
Let's not go that way then.
You said there was something old that was close?
Old Fae 300 feet that way.
Paula kind of shifts her shoulder and digs in one of her packs and pulls out a warhammer and kind of gets the heft of it. And she says, "Well, do you think it's something that might know more than us about this area? Would it be worth trying to talk to?"
I mean, I could try
something. Something is not quite right. There is something amiss. There is some trickery.
Oh, welcome with working with grandmother.
"And the Margrave, from everything I know about it," says Paula.
Let's go ask it.
Yeah. All right.
So,
I'm hiding.
is that you just cast mage armor?
Yep. Just
Okay.
because.
Paula has also taken the time while you guys were resting for lunch to change out of her sort of traveling clothes and has actually put on a set of chainmail.
Okay.
Looks very nice on you. Very fitting.
Thanks. Made it myself.
I mean, I
Oh,
could
you
tell
two get a
craftsmanship.
forge.
What he's saying? Is he speaking in his weird pop tongue? I don't understand.
So, so what's the plan? Are you guys heading off towards the Fae presence?
I would tell Puff Puff and be like, "You protect Glaz," and then I would go hide and go scout ahead.
Okay, so how far ahead of them do you want to range? Are you going to have them follow behind you, or are you going to go check it out and then come back?
I want to go check it out and then come back.
Okay. All right. Why don't you go ahead and make me a dexterity stealth check, please?
Yeah, fucking 8.
Ooh, an effing 8. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. So you travel, like Cloak just sort of scurries off into the brush, and after a little bit, he's gone. The rest of you, can make your preparations as you like. Cloak, you sort of scurry over a shallow, kind of just like a brook, like a little creek. Climb up the eroded embankment that leads down to it. Thankfully, it hasn't rained recently, so it's fairly dry. You're able to climb up it without slipping down the mud or anything. You make your way through the trees and past a little outcropping of rock, and you can see that it's not quite a clearing, but it's a little bit more like a glade, kind of a thinner area of trees, and it is surrounding this strange-looking moss-covered tree in the center, right in the middle of this sort of sparse group of vegetation. There is still canopy reaching up over and kind of blocking most of the sun, which is now shining down in these sort of broken beams through the sort of loose leaf cover overhead. And as you kind of hunker down behind a log and just sort of peek your, mushrooms and moss and little bits on your cloak up over the moss and mushrooms growing on the log, you can see the tree begin to shift slightly with this creaking of wood, like old beams settling. And it twists, and you realize it is not, in fact, a tree, but it is a massive figure, humanoidish, but seems to be made of vegetation. It has this great crown of fluffed out hair that is basically like wild hanging moss. It has a mustache and beard that hangs down its barrel chest almost to its waist, and it's just it's got this viridian body, just various shades of green that look like moss and algae growing on old wood. And it sort of stops and turns and looks, not really in your direction, but looks kind of past you and just looks off into the forest.
Can I roll intelligence or nature?
Yeah, sure. And it lets a sort of a deep.
What the hell?
Sort of like a booming. It sounded more like a deep breath or a sigh, although it hit you with the force of a growl at first. It's big. It's probably 12, 15 feet tall.
Can I do nature and can I do insight?
Sure. Yeah, you can make an intelligence, nature, and wisdom insight check.
Nature 12, insight is probably going to hopefully be my better one.
How loud is this tree?
How loud is it? I mean, pretty loud, but you guys are like 300 feet away, so you're just hearing forest sounds at this point.
I don't really know what that means because meters.
Did he look in the direction where everyone's at?
Not like he kind of looked past that direction, but then kept going. Like he didn't stop looking in that direction, really. He just sort of swept his gaze past it. Okay. All right. So with a 12 nature, you are not familiar with what this could be, but you know that fey creatures are varied, and even sometimes within a species, so to speak, there's a lot of variation. So, I mean, this kind of reminds you of a treant, but it's a little bit more humanoid than treants usually are. They're more tree-like with humanoid features. This is like a humanoid made of the forest. And just massive, hulking. Your insight is a 10. All right, so it gives you the feeling of patience. It just seems old and just gives you the sense of waiting, but not like an impatient waiting, just kind of watching and being. It's kind of calming, actually.
Yeah, that worries me a little bit. Just because he thinks about the fucking like spiders that sit and wait, and then they're calm, and then a fly gets in their net or their web, and then they are very aggressive quickly.
Sure.
So to oh shit, everyone's like 300 feet away.
I mean, that's your fault, buddy.
I have an idea, but you guys are too far away, and I might be. So, how far away am I from it?
I'd say you're a good 30 feet from the edge of the glade to the center.
Okay. I want to get 40 feet. I want to be out of this thing's reach.
You're well out of its reach, probably. I mean, unless it can do something like stretch its arms 30 feet long, you're well out of its reach.
That's what I worry about. All right. I'm going to be 45 feet away.
Okay.
And I'm going to come out in Sylvan and say in Sylvan, I'm going to be like, hey.
So it sort of perks up, but as it does, it's not like a it's a very slow sort of. You can hear its hair and beard sort of rustle as it moves. And it looks over toward the direction where you called from, and it begins to walk, kind of slowly, amble, really, its way toward the edge of the clearing. And it says in a very deep, resonant voice, "A traveler. Hello." And it kind of comes up, and massive fingers sort of reach around this tree trunk, and very gently, for its size, just kind of grab the edge, and it sort of leans over and looks at you. Oh. And he kind of looks down.
My sword's out under my cloak, by the way.
Okay.
Because that's paranoid cloak. So I don't know if anyone else can hear the conversation, but Cloak is
not a chance. Not a chance. They're 300 feet away, man.
Yeah,
through a forest.
So, question. What do you do here?
He sort of tilts his head, and he says, "You are an interesting one. I am a watcher. A protector and a guide."
Yes.
And it kind of sways a little bit, and he says, "You are not of the Margrave.
Oh, no.
What is your purpose here, small one?"
Well, Do you know? Don't take this the wrong way. Don't get upset. Do you know who her grandmother is?
He kind of leans back a little. He says, "Of course.
Well,
we have heard her name for ages."
She said there is a demon out here somewhere, and I didn't sense any fiends, and that's leads for miles upon miles. But I sensed you, and I wanted to come talk to you to see my friends. She offered them a gift, and she's super powerful, so they had to take the gift, and so taking that gift, they had to do something for it. So yeah, pretty much. She said there's a demon from Demon Mountain. Is that what it was? Or Lord Demon Mountain, something like that. And she wanted
the mountain is far from here. In the plains beyond the grasp of the forest. Dangerous business. Bargains with the Baba Yaga.
That's what I try to tell them, but they don't listen to me. I didn't make a bargain. Don't get me wrong, okay? I kept good on that point. How's your relationship with Baba Yaga?
I have never spoken to her. She has never come here.
Interesting.
I have seen her hut bound through the wood, and chose not to stand in its path.
That's probably a wise bet. Well, is it alright if I go get my friends and we have a conversation?
Yes, you and yours are welcome if you come here in peace.
I'm going to roll insight on that.
Sure.
Fucking 10 again! God damn it!
He seems sincere.
Okay.
He says, would you like me to accompany you, or shall I wait here?
What are you comfortable doing? You can come with me if you want. It's not too far. They're like a few hundred feet that way.
I enjoy traveling, and I seldom am able to travel with others, such as you. And he starts walking through the brush. So he takes these like ponderous steps, but they're very long strides. So he ends up moving pretty quickly. He covers ground at a good pace. He also doesn't seem to be hindered by the brambles and the undergrowth, which probably you could have expected, being a fey creature of the forest. He also doesn't disturb it, like he doesn't crush plants or flowers as he walks. Somehow he manages not to just tear the loam and ground and plant life and animal burrows asunder as he walks through.
Can I climb you?
Lead the way. He kind of chuckles. You may.
I climb him.
And he sort of like offers his hand down if you want to grab it and scamper up.
Yeah, and that's what I do.
Yep, so you grab a hold of his like giant thumb and climb up his arm. It feels like stone or wood or something underneath all this moss and lichen, and you kind of like get up on his shoulder, and you kind of have to like grab and half get into his big old fro of moss to try and get into there to really have a place to stand, because his hair is almost as broad as his shoulders.
Okay. Yeah, I'd be like hanging out in his hair, and then like as he walked up on him.
To your companions. All right, so he starts walking the way you point, and he says, "Where have you come from?"
We came from Zobek.
I have heard the name. It clatters, but I know little of it. It is everything the forest is not.
Oh, that's true. It's a city. There's not really much nature there.
And a city of metal and springs and things crafted by tools.
Yeah.
All right, so the rest of you start to hear this deep rumble through the ground. And then, like, eventually you hear these rhythmic, massive footsteps approaching. It is not accompanied by the panicking of animals, the flight of birds, or the snapping of twigs and undergrowth. Just the heavy sound of footsteps and the kind of piping chatter of Cloak.
I think I see your friends ahead.
Yep, hold on. Their faces are great right now.
Surprised, are they?
He kind of like pushes a tree aside gently, and the tree seems to bend without cracking or protesting too much, and he steps into the clearing where you guys stopped and lets the tree sort of gently fold back over.
What's your name?
Hello.
And then he kind of stops as Cloak was asking one question in his ear.
Oh, my name has not been spoken in so long. It is Bostoff.
Bostoff. Bostoff, we're friends.
I should like that. Hello, friends of Cloak.
And kind of waves his hand.
Is he speaking common to us?
Oh, yeah. He's speaking common.
Okay.
So he was probably speaking Sylvan initially with Cloak and then switched to Trade Tongue when he started speaking to you guys.
Hello.
Rowan will bow deeply.
Cloak tells me you are in search of dark creatures.
What's happened? How did we get here? Why is the tree speaking?
There's Bostoff.
Don't be rude. Don't be rude.
Bolstov. Right. Did I sniff some of the phoenix?
Don't be
thinks he's
rude.
high.
Cloak, where did you find this friend of yours now?
Oh, he's the really old thing I sensed.
Oh. Right.
So
Fluff and Stuff kind of hunkers down and like backs away and seems like holy shit by this thing that walks into the clearing.
It's okay, Fluff and Stuff.
I sort of nudge Paula. It's like, well, pretty much whenever you take Cloak into the forest, he ends up with an entire parade of things that he has made friends with. It was first it was the blink dog, and then now the bear, and well, the bear died, but now the bear is back, and now we have a tree. So
Cloak is very friendly.
Oh.
I hope you're as friendly as he is.
I don't know how he keeps convincing everybody of that.
That's very
yes,
weird.
yes, he is very friendly. Friendly. That is what he is. Glaz is the friendliest. Of course, he is friendly.
Does Bostoff look really old, like a very old tree?
I mean, he has kind of an old look about his features, but as far remember, he's not exactly a tree. He's like a big green giant person covered in moss and lichen and like. But
that would kind of include that he'd been here a while.
Maybe. It doesn't. So it's like if a tree was entirely covered in moss, sure, it could give you that sort of feel. He does have the feeling of age just sort of settled over him, like that same feeling that Cloak had before. That patient watchfulness.
Okay, Tilly will ask him, how long have you been here? What are you doing? I don't know how you found him, but he's not hard to miss, Cloak, but...
I have always been here. Cloak came to my glade. He found me.
I did.
I did not find him.
Excuse me, Sir Bostov.
Yes.
Are you aware of any strange goings-on in the Margrave?
I have felt troubling things not far from here. I was wondering if I should investigate myself, but often these things work themselves out over time. But since you are here, I would not feel comfortable letting you walk into danger. If you would like a guide.
That would be most helpful if you offer us this privilege.
You wish to go to the places I have felt the darkness.
You put it that way.
We wish to weed out the darkness.
It is important to carve away diseased growth.
Why the hell do you guys speak like this? Like, can't we just be cool?
I am very cool and hip with the kids, Ryodan, but now is a time
my grandma
for...
spoke like that.
Well, I am on a mission for grandmother.
Do you wish to go now?
Yeah. I've got a couple of questions while we're on the road. Is there a Mrs. Bolstov or another Mr. Bostov? Is Acorns how you guys sort of do it? I mean...
You're asking if I have a mate. No.
Yes.
I do not.
Oh. You strike me as someone that's kind of old, if you don't mind me saying so.
Paula sort of shoots Tilly a look and like glances at Ryodan and is just like, "This is his thing."
Tilly does the whole like, "There's not anything that's not his thing." It seems so.
No, I'm going to if he starts asking some really awkward questions, I'm just going to grab him by the ear and pull.
No, I'm not hitting on this giant tree, dude. What I'm saying,
you're being
I'm asking some emotionally revealing questions of the person that we've just met. What's wrong with that?
All right, so you guys are walking and talking. He actually shortens his stride a bit to try and not get too far ahead of you, because if he does just kind of plow on ahead, he'll leave you behind. But sure, he'll talk as you guys travel through the woods.
So what's your story, Bolstov? Who hurt you?
Oh, my story is very old, and you probably couldn't hear it all before you died.
All right, then. We'll skip over that.
But as I told Cloak, I am a watcher and guardian, and rarely a guide, such as now, when travelers come through the wood. Not very often. Not very often at all.
Tilly chime in. It seems very lonely. Are you by yourself a lot? Do you have many companions out here?
To you, it would seem that way.
All right, so as you guys walk, he'll kind of just chat with you. You can't really describe what he does as chatter or banter. He just talks slow and plodding and ponderous and deliberately, and he answers your questions much in the way I have been, like directly, but often with just this weird slant that just speaks of a mind that doesn't quite work the same way yours does, certainly with relation to time. So you travel for probably the better part of the rest of the day. During your travel, Fluff and Stuff will probably shake off the spell and look a little confused for a moment, but then basically just keep right along as he was, probably snuffling between Tilly and Glaz looking for more honey. Bostov just kind of keeps leading you into the woods.
Not far now.
he says, as the sun kind of begins to dip in the sky. It's not dark or dusk yet, but it's definitely on the downward swing of the sun's cycle.
Can I roll insight again?
Sure.
Okay. Nope, I think this guy's the greatest.
Yeah, he's on the level, man. He's a pretty solid guide. Like, you're pretty good at leading people through forest, but I mean, this guy might be part of the forest, so that's kind of cool.
He's my new best friend.
I'm gonna make an insight as well.
Sure.
If I can actually grab the dice.
There we go.
Whoa!
There we go. The duality of man.
So, when he says not far now, there's a little bit of a smile that creases the corners of his mouth that puts you off just for a second. Like, it just seemed off.
Hold for a minute.
So he stops. He says, "The darkness is not far ahead. Do you wish to go in as one?"
What would that entail? I mean, physically.
Walk to the place where the darkness festers. He kind of past those trees. And so you look over and he points you to 3 trees that have all been lightning struck right next to each other.
I'm going to be crazy. I'm going to use another spell slot and use my primeval awareness.
Okay. Once again, your sense of awareness reaches through the ground around you and spreads out, racing through the forest along these connections. And you feel much the same as you did before. You do not feel the presence of any fiends. You feel Fae, you feel the undead presence of Rowan, but no others. Elementals. That dragon at this point is not registering on your senses.
Mm-hmm. I don't sense any evil over there.
That is strange. Perhaps it has found a way to hide itself.
What is your understanding of this darkness?
Merely that it festers in the forest. I was watching and waiting, and your arrival prompted me to act.
Is there anything
strange? Seem to cause haste.
Is there anything strange with the ley lines in this area that Glaz can sense? I did take ley sense. I mean, I'd first do just my general feel for the ley lines within a mile, but then I might reach out if it seems like there's something.
You open yourself to the presence of ley lines, and I would say at this point, you hear the mournful strains of the Shadow Road. Distant,
Like,
barely
okay,
on the edge of awareness. But still, that's within a mile. And to your understanding, you weren't that close to it.
Yeah. I mean, the Shadow Road is like...
Nor were you even traveling in that direction.
Yeah. Ooh. Cloak. It is odd. I am hearing the Shadow Road here. The strains of it. But from all of my mapping, it should not be. However, the Shadow Road, as the name implies, is connected to the Shadow Realm.
If you wish, I can see if there are denizens within before you enter.
What about this Loki guy? What's he like? Could he be here?
Trickster.
He kind of tilts his head and says,
I know not of whom you speak.
Can I roll insight on that?
Sure.
I will roll inside.
Oh,
now.
that's 180.
That. Oh, yeah. You go.
You get the feeling that he's not exactly lying, but he is kind of obfuscating a little bit. Like maybe he has a suspicion of who you're talking about, but knows it by another name, that sort of thing.
Cloak, can you not sense portals?
Hold on, let me do that. I sense portals for 1,000 feet? I think, hold on, the verbiage might have changed on that.
Your Horizon Walker?
Yeah.
There's a hole popped in. There's a hole popped in the fabric of reality here somewhere.
Right. So you reach out with your senses, and you don't feel any immediate strong disruption in the fabric of the planes. You don't sense any planar rifts or tears or portals.
Okay. How far away are these trees from us?
Probably barely on the edge of your vision at about 50-ish feet. Dense forest.
Yeah.
What's Puff Puff look like?
Puff Puff is just sort of hanging out near your heel and is watching this thing curiously and is just a little bit on edge, maybe because she's picking up that you guys are getting... You're in a little bit of a state of readiness, right? Because, you know, you're near something that's supposedly dark. Yeah.
If it is the trickster is known to be able to hide himself from many types of detection. Or something that is somewhat attached to the trickster.
Perhaps I should go and look first.
If that is
Perhaps.
your wish.
I can also
get
closer.
He sort of looks around to see if anybody else wants to chime in or object or whatever.
I'm staying on his shoulder.
Yeah.
I actually think Glaz is going to go with him, and when we get within it's so damn close. If we get within about 10 feet of these lightning struck trees, I am going to cast Lay Sense because it gives me tremor sense.
It does. Okay. All right. So he picks Cloak, like reaches up to kind of grab you, not like grab, but like kind of put his fingers under you and scoop you up. He kind of, if you let him, he's going to kind of pick you up and then.
Is he trying? No, I'm going with him.
So he's like picking you up off his shoulder, unless you stop or resist.
No,
stop
that's fine. No,
resist.
I'll stay here. I'll go. I'm brave.
You cannot follow me the way I'm going to look. I don't want you to get hurt.
Which way are you gonna go?
He kind of pauses and thinks for a moment, and he says, like this. And he begins to slowly sink into the ground.
Oh, he's going to earth fly.
Okay. One thing I want to do, and this guy's a Fae, so can I roll nature intelligence on it with advantage? Because of Fae's my favorite enemy?
Yeah. You already rolled one before, so I'll let you roll another one. You got a 12 on that one. So just roll one straight up.
Okay, I can do that. Luckily, it's just a straight up roll. 12 again.
It's a 12, yeah. So all that stuff I said before.
Okay.
So he kind of slowly sinks into the ground.
Then I would just get off of him.
Okay.
So
you kind of hop off, and and there's a little bit of like a roiling disturbance in the ground, and that just sort of settles down.
Mm-hmm.
And and he's gone.
I shoot Puff Puff a look, and my look is like, be really aware right now, because something's not rubbing right with Cloak.
So she kind of starts sniffing the air. So he vanishes into the ground, and so a few minutes pass. And then a few more minutes pass. And then 10 minutes pass.
There is something awry.
You don't hear anything. You don't, you just hear normal forest sounds, really. You don't hear anything up ahead. Yeah.
Maybe he killed it. Although he did seem a little sketchy when we mentioned the whole Loki thing.
It seems that he was obscuring the truth. I don't know by how, but
I call that line.
Just seemed like
Glaz is going to do what he said and walk forward with about 10 feet of the lightning struck trees and cast lay sense.
Okay, so you walk up
to have trooper sense as well.
Dan, did we have a cart or anything with us? Didn't we bring stuff like a cart?
Oh, we do have a cart.
You guys do have a cart.
It's a random side note.
Yeah, you guys, it might have been a little difficult to bring kind of this far off the track, but no, it was small enough. You guys were planning for it, and you guys have a ranger, so yeah, you can manage to have the cart here too, sure.
Okay, as soon as Glass starts to kind of truck it towards the trees, Tilly's gonna tie Heidi to the cart. Okay, you stay here. Don't go anywhere. And try to go with Glass. No, don't go by yourself.
All right.
As Glass is walking, Rowan's going to clasp him on the shoulder quickly and cast protection from energy, and is going to protect from lightning.
Assume lightning. Cool. All right. Okay, Glaz, you protected from lightning. You scurry forward through the brush, and you make your way up to the trees, and you get to within 10 feet of them.
Yep.
You can cast your lay sense.
Yep. So that gives me.
You have tremor sense 20 feet. Is that right? Or
tremor sense 20 feet, and just gives me more, bigger distance on my detecting of ley lines and. Yeah, and know the distance and direction of every ley line within the 5-mile range.
Okay, so now that you have this greater sense of your ley lines, you're once again sensing the presence of the Shadow Road line, but you're now sensing it in the other direction from where you sensed it last time you looked.
It's moving.
You're now sensing it from back the way you came through the woods. Your tremor sense picks up maybe like little squirrels and crap skittering around, but nothing like no big creatures, nothing nearby. How much longer would you guys like to wait?
The Shadow Road has just moved, which is not normal.
Does it move like ever, or like
moving a ley line? Takes entire magocracies or something that is distorting my sense of the ley lines. It was in front of me before, and now it's back behind us.
Like where Heidi? She turns around and starts going back to where Heidi was.
Where Balgroth was?
The Balgroth went forward. Under the ground, we assume he went forward.
But before he was in front of you.
Yes, but that's what I'm saying is that I was basically standing next to Balgroth when I felt it way in front of me with normal sense. Now with my
you felt it sort of like off to your left, essentially, and now it's like way to the back and right. And so it's not like you had your sense up the whole time. You kind of listened to it, found it, and then you guys waited for a while, and then you cast your spell, and it's like, wait, no, what? Over there.
I think what Cloak is asking me is if when I sensed it before, was I sensing it in the direction of Balgroth?
No.
Yeah, okay. So it's not as though it's moved because Balgroth has moved, potentially.
Okay.
Is the Margrave playing tricks with us?
Can I roll perception?
Sure, just making a general sort of search action to try and... What are you looking for? Are you looking for anything? Listening for things skulking in the woods?
I'm listening because Balgroth went underground, and he's very paranoid right now because things started getting sketchy. All right. Wait, do I roll this at advantage?
You do not.
No, that's survival. That's what it was. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, fucking great. 8.
8. All right. Yeah. Really, all you hear is
my fucking night.
Normal forest sounds. Yeah. So how much longer do you guys think you'll like wait before going somewhere doing something?
Here's the thing, you guys. August, when I first met him, he said he's very patient. And every time I think about patience and something in the wild being patient is like, you know, those spiders that tunnel and then they like snap out and eat something. That's what I think about right now. And I don't know why I'm thinking about that, but I am thinking about that.
Rowan's going to move to the center of the clearing and have a better look around.
Some trapdoor spiders are known to wear wigs of moss, so that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so inside this circle of trees that are lightning struck.
Mm-hmm. So it's not a circle, it's just 3. 3 trees right next to each other.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking it was like like 3 in a...
Well, yeah, they're not like in a perfect line or whatever, so they're kind of a triangle, but it's like just 3 trees that were growing near each other.
Yeah, so if Rowan walks through, if Rowan walks through the trees, I'll go with her. Again,
okay, you guys are walking up?
I have 10 minutes of tremor sense, so I'm going to sort of keep, moving forward as it seems like there's only...
Okay. All right, make your dexterity stealth check, please, Cloak. 13, got it. All right, several of you, basically everybody except Rowan, kind of loses track of Cloak. All right, so you guys head up. You move past the lightning-struck trees. They have the smell of not having been dead for very long, or not necessarily being dead, but dying. And you can even smell like the faint char from where the lightning caused the wood to burn, and kind of burn out the inside a bit. Doesn't seem like it happened too terribly long ago, but not this morning. Well, you walk up past the trees, and beyond it just seems like more woods.
No, well, damn it.
You all right?
Well, this is going to be bad.
I'm going to look back behind me to see if the others are still there.
Sorry, what was that, Moth?
I'm looking back past the charred trees where we just stepped through and looking to see if I can still see the rest of the group.
Yeah, assuming, did you guys move up at all, or are you still back where you were?
I was still within, I guess, the 10 feet of the trees that...
Okay, so other people moved up to within 10 feet of the trees, then yeah, you can see them. Yep, it's not like you vanish or something. What are you thinking there, Glyza?
I'm going to get us into so much trouble.
I mean, when do you not?
Glaz opens up the lantern because it acts as a lantern of revealing and of detect magic, and sees if he sees anything invisible or detecting magic, and shines it around these.
Remember the detect magic is contact. You actually have to touch things.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah. Because there's no fuel on the lantern and it burns forever,
right.
That sort of thing. So you're going to activate the revealing property of it, though.
Yes.
So it doesn't reveal people who are just hiding, right? It reveals invisible things.
It's invisible things.
Okay, so looking around, you do not see anything invisible within the light of the lantern. You do, however, hear the immediate groaning of the trees, kind of as you flash it.
So I close it back down. I was just worried something was invisible here and within these trees.
Yep. So let's have everybody roll initiative, please.
Oh boy.
Oh, are you kidding me?
Oh, Laz. Oh. I'm not rolling above fucking 10 tonight.
That's supposed to be with +2, so it'd be 11 instead of 9, sorry.
Glad to hear for us.
That's the highest initiative I've ever rolled.
Oh.
Wait, did that wrong?
Wait. Glads is first. That's not a problem.
Back in a second.
Damn it.
I rolled 7.
Why'd
All right.
Thanks, class.
why'd my insight just show up?
I don't know.
I didn't roll insight.
I don't know.
Well, I told you I was going to get us in trouble.
All right. So, shit. So, anybody over 20?
No.
No. So 20 to 15. Looks like we have Glaz and a 19.
Glad's on a 19. So bad.
Paula has a 10.
I'm sure it's fine. It's fine.
All right. So 15 to 10.
I'd be 11.
All right. 10 to 5.
7.
I got a 7 as well. But
So
I have
who
the
would like to
most
Oh, no, wait, sorry, I got an
decks.
8.
No. You got an 8, yeah.
Rowan. 7 Riodan.
7 me.
Okay, 7.
I have
Cloak.
the slightly higher decks, I think.
However you
Sure,
guys want to do that, that works.
I got a 14 plus 2.
Oh yeah, I got a 16 plus 3.
Okay.
All right. Is that everybody? 1, 2, 3, 4. Who am I missing? That's everybody. 5. All right. So
What about bear
the bear. Yeah, we should roll for fluff and stuff.
and Heidi?
Do you want? Heidi is not going.
Heidi's like, what happened? I missed the box.
Fluff and stuff is on 4. All right. So the only person who is not surprised is Rowan. No. Rowan and Glaz, because of your tremor sense, you can feel it coming. It is rocketing up from under the earth. You suddenly feel this immense thing beneath your feet. You get the sense of this meteoric rise from under the ground, bursting up, kind of past you towards an angle. Rowan, your hearing is sensitive enough that you pick up this rumble and you kind of see the ground shake, kind of past you, back towards the line of trees and to your friends outside. So, Glaz, you can act. Something is coming. It ain't out of the ground yet, though.
Oh, son of a gun. Okay. Wow. Glaz. I mean, he's already got his mage armor up. Glaz is going to take the dodge action, getting himself ready for whatever might appear out of the ground, and get himself in a defensive stance and take the dodge action.
Okay.
And scream out, "It's coming! Something's coming up from under the earth." I don't know if it is Boff and the big tree guy or not.
All right. So that is going to bring us to Rowan.
Oh, okay. What can I do?
Yeah, right.
Well, I'm going to get out of the way of whatever's coming out of the ground.
So going to kind of move away from the trees. Sure.
You were saying it was coming up at an angle to us, so it's not coming up right underneath of us, right?
Not coming up right underneath you, no.
Okay,
But I assume
I'd have moved at least to not be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's just kind of backing up from where it's going. Yep.
What else can I do?
You can
Sorry.
dodge. You can ready an
stopped working.
Yep, that's fine. You could ready a spell or an action to take for when you see something reveal itself.
Yeah, I'm going to. How close is Glaz to me?
5 feet. You guys walked up
Okay,
together.
I'm going to activate the bloodletting rune, and
Okay. What does that do?
so it's a warding bond.
Oh,
and
right.
if
Okay, you cast
yeah.
Warding Bond on Glaz. Right. So there's a shimmering field around you, Glaz, and I believe...
You get a +1
you-
to AC.
there you go. Yep, +1 AC, and you split damage between you.
Yeah,
All right.
and you get a +1 to your saving throws as well.
Oh, there you go. Nice. Okay, so the ground rumbling that a few of you were able to pick up on, Tilly, Riodan, Cloak, you guys are just kind of like, what are they talking about? What's going on? You don't really see or hear anything until the ground under Tilly's feet explodes. This massive figure bursts up out of the ground. Its face is now split into this massive grin that reaches up way too high, splitting its head almost in half. The green, mossy giant figure basically Superman punches her out of the ground as he comes up. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh.
It's 1 and a 3. All right, so
Something's trying to tickle my feet. I don't know.
he catches you full in the... He happens to get you right in the shield. You just instinctively duck behind it when anything goes wrong, and it pummels into your shield, and he strikes at you again with a critical hit. So that'll be that. So his second fist, as he comes up, catches you just kind of in the back under your guard.
Oh. Quick question: is this considered a weapon?
It is a weapon attack.
Because I do have that one thing that says next hit with weapon penalizes Tilly by an AC by 5.
Oh yeah. So actually, what it does is it creases your armor, and now you're having trouble moving because you're kind of bent back a little bit. So yeah, your armor class is now decreased by 5. You take 23 points of bludgeoning damage, and its fist kind of wraps around you.
Oh, just got.
All right, you are grappled, which means you can't move. So
Okay.
that's his turn. Top of the order, Glaz.
So, wait, it's okay. Wait, did Riodan and Cloak not go?
They were surprised.
It was a
This is
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
the,
a surprise round. Got you.
surprise round.
He was hidden. Rowan had sharp enough ears, high enough passive perception to
Gotcha.
hear the rumble of him coming, and you had tremor sense, so you could see him. He wasn't hidden from you.
Okay, so this is boss.
This is
dude.
this. Oh yeah.
Bosstuff? Is that who this is?
We can actually
Bullseye.
use his real name now. It's Burstuk.
Burstuk. So okay, it's Burstuk.
Which-
It is, yes.
Here.
He's something bad.
One of these guys.
Oh, great. Okie
It's
dokie.
got a sort of vowel change name. Damn it.
Seeing that this guy is a 3, I'm going to pull out. Well, first, you know what? I'm going to channel my old the ley line of the Everforge.
All right, do it.
And I get to. So how do we decide we're going to do this? Because we changed things up a little bit. I need
dropped
to
the-
choose a level, but not the actual spell before I roll.
No, just go ahead and roll it, and we'll figure it out.
Okay. So that's an 8, plus
your intelligence bonus.
my intelligence bonus, which
Yeah.
is a plus 3. So it is it's a 12. I'm sorry, 11.
11. Right. So you're good for a level 3 spell.
So I'm good for a level 3 spell. So yeah, with that, so now I need to roll D10, I believe. I'm sorry.
Yep. It's okay.
Isn't it a D10
Yeah.
for minor?
We've been
Yes,
away a
it's
while.
D10.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's been away a while.
A 5. What's a 5?
So on a 5, that is double the range of my spell, which I probably don't need. So I will take the temporary hit points.
All right, so you reach out to your connection, your tether to the fiery line of the Everforge, and you draw on that energy, and as you weave it into your spell, you pull that excess energy and wrap it around your own life force.
And that's a D6, correct?
Yep.
Or D4?
D6.
Of how many? D6?
Yep.
So
D6
2
plus,
temporary.
it was a D6 plus your wizard level, something like that. So we'll call it 9 hit points for now. Go ahead and cast your spell.
So I'm going to do pull out my diamond, spin up my chromatic orb. I'm going to make it fire damage at level 3. And so I need to roll a D20 plus D6.
Yep.
On a 24.
That'll hit.
And that is 5d8 fire damage. So that's 21 points of fire damage as a huge bolt of fire.
Yeah, you spin the diamond and create this scintillating, swirling orb of fire that blasts out toward this creature. It sears into its back and it cries out in pain, but to your chagrin, it doesn't really catch the substance of its body very well. It just kind of sears and spits and sizzles. So he does take damage, but he appears to be resistant to fire.
Oof, okay. Good to know.
So he takes 10. Yep. Tilly, your turn.
Tilly's gonna try her best to break the grip. Just trying to pull back the fingers of this guy.
So that will require you to spend one of your attacks to try and break the grapple, which you can do. Yes. Being grabbed by him does not actually penalize your attacks at all. But yeah, so you can make a strength athletics check as one of your attacks to try and break the grip.
All right.
All right, 18. So the grip crushing on you is massive, but you're able to wedge your arm down under the thumb, and you hear something pop as you lever it open and drop to the ground. So you can continue with the rest of your attack action. You can take your extra attack against it.
As soon as she plops the ground, she two hands right onto her hammer and smashes into his.
Well, you have your shield, right? So you can't two-hand the hammer.
Oh, okay. So I guess I can hit it with my shield. We'll go ahead and do that. Just right onto the foot of it, trying to crack into it.
Well, you can one-hand the warhammer. That's fine. Go ahead and make your attack with your warhammer, and then you can bonus action. You said you were two-handing the hammer. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I like being epic. I'm just kidding.
It's okay. 18. That hits. Yeah, you hear wood crack and it cries out in pain.
That was my previous.
Oh, that was the previous roll. Athletics roll. I looked down and looked back up and saw Tilly 18.
No, you're fine. Okay.
All right. Boop. Attack roll.
There you go. Plus
your attack bonus, which is significant.
It's been so long since we've done this. I'm still so like.
Yeah, I know. It's okay.
Plus 5. And then plus 3, so it's 8 total. Sorry.
Plus your hammer is a +1 hammer now, so it's 9 total. Plus 9.
9.
So that hits. That hits. Go ahead and give me hammer damage, and remember to add that 1 point to damage as well.
Oh, nice. Okay. Sorry, I forgot to change my copy pastas out. So.
Yeah, it's okay.
There you go.
Woo! So that's got to be +6 damage at least. Yeah, 13. There we are. All right. So it takes full damage from the blow of your hammer, and you hear this satisfying in the thwack of the metal biting into the wood, and hear it cracking. You can hear this almost guttural war cry that echoes with the hammer.
She just cries back.
Yep. So you can bash him with your shield now if you like.
Okay. Boop, 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 boop. Boop. There we go.
Ooh, that's a natural 1. So he just kind of backhands the hammer strike away. Paula is going to kind of reverse her hammer, closes her eyes, and begins kind of chanting in that dwarven prayer. and you can all feel it beginning to sort of thrum through your bones and in time with your heartbeat, almost like the ringing of a hammer on an anvil. So you all have the leadership benefit. So you get to roll a d4 and add it to your attacks and saving throws.
Nice.
Rowan, you're up.
Okay. How far away from me is he?
30 feet, maybe? More like 20, really.
Okay. I mean, I do have bird armor now, so just gonna. Seeing that Tilly is still grasped by.
No, she broke out.
She broke out. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. In this case, I'm going to cast a 3rd level Inflict Wounds.
Nice. Run up on him. This black energy crackles around Rowan's claw, and you strike out at him. Make your spell attack.
It's a melee attack.
Yep, melee spell attack.
Okay. Let me...
You get to use your wisdom instead of your strength.
So will it basically be like a wisdom roll?
It's wisdom with proficiency.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, no, I don't know if this sheet would have it.
So, that's 5.
Oh,
Ooh,
that
nice.
hits. Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you reach out and grab a hold of the big splintered area, which is now oozing this black, thick pus that reeks of old, rotten meat. And you just kind of reach into the wound, and you let the necrotic energy flow into it. Yep. So what level did you do? 3rd?
3rd, so that is 5d10.
That's 5d10 necrotic damage.
Yeah.
And he is not resistant to that.
That's good to know.
28 necrotic damage as she digs her claws in and just rips.
Ugh. He howls in agony as the wound splits farther and begins to rot and slough off at the edges. And his eyes begin to burn with this sickly yellow light. Riodan, your turn, sir.
I'm gonna tentacle this dude.
Hell yeah.
So, I'm gonna move to get close enough, and then I will swing once.
Oh, that's 1.
Twice.
That's 2.
Oh,
and a crit!
Nat 20.
Oh, 2 hits the crit, sir. Get some.
Feels so good to hit on a 31 attack roll. Okay, so the first one is free. The crit was a free. So max is total damage is math 9, and then I have to make a DC 15 Constitution saving throw.
All right, it has magic resistance, so it gets advantage on this. Yes, Constitution is huge, so he passes with a 24.
Damn it! I was hoping to get rid of his reactions.
No one has ever failed that roll.
Not
That's
true.
what I'm like.
He sucked the life out of some ghost folk with that, which saved some people's asses.
Oh yeah, okay.
Right. So, that was a Riodan.
All it really does is stop their reactions, which I figured would be useful in a potential boss fight scenario.
Cloak, you're up.
At this point, Cloak is kind of looking at the nature of the situation because he saw the chromatic orb fly at him, and then he looks at the burnt trees, and he looks at Glaz, and he's like, "Glaz, moss is wet," and then he takes his sword out from under his cloak and goes Morgrim, and then runs forward and slices at this thing's right at the back of its knee.
So his cloak darts forward, his blade bursts into flames.
And then I use my planar warrior, and my flames, I imagine, turn into a blue, I don't know.
Yep. So the bright orange flame around his blade begins to swirl into a vortex of this deep sapphire flame around the blade.
All right, here we go. I'm gonna roll.
Do it.
Oh, there, I hit.
That'll hit. Give me some damage.
Here's the damage. 20 damage. Half of 5, 6, 7. So 3 if we round it down.
Yep. He takes
So that'd be
17. Ow.
Yeah.
All right, so he wails in pain and kind of staggers backwards, and half of his leg is still sort of sunk into the ground. And you can see that his blood spattering on the ground just sort of fizzles and vanishes. There is no trace of him in these woods at all. He doesn't leave a footprint. He doesn't disturb a twig. He doesn't leave bits of himself behind. There is no trace of him. But he is...
his
he
blood
is
at the bottle.
well.
And for my second attack, I was... for my second attack, I was like, we were best friends! And I got a 12.
Roll a d4, won't matter.
Oh, d4.
Even the 4 won't get you, sorry. It clunks off.
Well, that's what I rolled. 16.
Clunks off of his thick hide.
Is my weapon a +1?
Your weapon is magical. It is not a +1.
No, it's
so
not. Yeah, no.
Fluff and Stuff comes charging forward and makes 2 attacks.
It's getting bad.
60, that's a 19, that'll hit. And the claws, a 17 misses, but I don't think she needs to be able to understand him. So because of the blessings of Everforge, the claws hit as well. So
Nice.
4, 6, and 3. And 7, 4, 11 down to 5, so a total of 8 damage. Fluff and Stuff's weapons do seem to be having a great deal of difficulty getting purchase and hurting the creature. It is resistant to the claws and the bite. So that's after Fluff and Stuff. The Burstuk. The Burstuk drives its fist into Tilly once more, and it begins screaming in Abyssal, this horrible, blasphemous language that just kind of makes your back prickle and your spine go cold when you hear it. Nothing as bad as the Void Speech, but it's still just an awful, horrible language. Nope. That's a 7. Second one is another 7. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Your armor class is -5. Those are both going to hit. Oof.
Oh.
So, you're going to take 30 between 2 hits, points of damage. And he wraps both of his hands around you, and you can hear the metal creaking and your bones beginning to grind together.
Rowan screams.
Yep, 30 total. Glaz, top of the order.
Glaz is going to stick with, well, kind of what he knows. And again, he's going to cast another chromatic orb, this time just at 2nd level.
Which element?
I am going to let's go with acid. Acid's always oh, you know what? But his blood has been landing on the ground and sizzling, hasn't it? Ooh, I want to use that acid for blood. I'm going to go with lightning instead. I'm hoping that maybe these lightning trees are not something he did. Fire's bad. Acid's lightning. Let's go for it. I don't know what lightning. And I'm going to. He's got a +6 to hit, and let's see what happens. 23.
That totally hits. The crackling bluish-white orb of lightning lances forward, strikes his shoulder, breaks into arcs around his body, and just arcs straight into the ground. Seemingly
Does that
unaffected.
hit Tilly as well?
Seemingly unaffected.
He is immune to lightning.
Right. Darn it.
All right. Tilly, your turn.
Moss was going to really be in our favor.
Tilly is like, the squeezing is so much, she's taken so much damage, and she's in and out of dazing, but she's going to still crack down if she can and swing her hammer onto his knuckles to try to break
So you're
through.
grappled again, but that does not impede your attacks.
Yeah, this time she's like, I'm just going to attack, just see if I can break his little wooden fingers.
All right. And I will say that now there are several horrible wounds and rents in him, and he is, like, you can see the moss starting to turn gray and slough off into this thick paste.
Yeah.
All right, that'll hit. 28 for sure. Give me some hammer damage.
Hammer
time.
man. She doesn't say that. She spits blood on him through the gaps of her teeth.
There you go.
Okay.
13, good lord. All right. Second attack. The first hammer catches him on the cheekbone, and you can hear his face break and his jaw kind of hang to the side.
She's wheezing,
And
grunting
another
between swings.
solid hit. You just come back with the backswing and catch him on the other side of the face. Give me some damage. 10 more, good lord. His head snaps over to the side, and you can see his neck crack and begin to pour that horrible pus. Shield bash, I have figured. Why not?
Yeah.
You kind of drive the rim of the shield down onto his arms, trying to break them off. give me that damage. D4 plus 5. 6. So this one is your shield is magical, so it is an enchanted shield. So that is another 6 full damage. All right.
She's trying to run between fingers, but it's just every.
If it's a crit, does she roll another d4?
Oh, was that a critical hit? It was.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a crit. Yeah, no, roll another d4. Yeah, you crit it. You hear its forearm break inside that moss that cases it.
I think I just pushed up and did it, so you can take d4.
So just a 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. 41. Oh, all right, so that's Tilly. Paula is going to scream a battle cry in Dwarvish and run forward and try to smack this thing with her hammer. And she has pack tactics, so she has advantage on this. So she hits once and didn't have advantage on that one because I didn't click it again. That one is not going to hit, unfortunately, but she hits once. 7. All right, and her hammer sort of flares with this firelight of sparks as it burns into the creature's back. And all right, Paula, Rowan.
Okay, seeing it crush Tilly again, Rowan screams as she takes out her dagger and just plunges it into the wound and casts Inflict Wounds again.
Oh god, all right, get her.
3rd level again. I'm going to use my crit.
Okay then. So go ahead as you shriek and drive this knife into the cracked open wound in its back and just lean into it with all of your weight, with Wotan's name on your lips. Go ahead and roll me 10 d10 necrotic damage, please.
Oh, man.
I was going to juice that up with one of my features, but I don't think I need to.
Yeah, you wanna give him a little life drain zappy zap too? Sure.
I'll give a little life drain zappy zap. It'll go for overkill. So
the Raven is mad about this whole subterfuge of being a tree.
Stupid trees.
Holy
oh my
shit.
God, 77? You've got 3 10s there?
So, and that adds 7 necrotic damage from your life drain, right?
Yep.
Okay, so that's 84. So that drops him to negative 50.
Hey, 84 was a good year, okay?
Note to self, do not piss off the Raven.
Rowan drives her blade into what would be this thing's kidney if it were not made of wood and demonic lies. And you see this just horrible black energy burst out from the dagger through her hands, spread through the entire creature as these veins of rot. It throws its head back and shrieks this surprisingly high-pitched wail that causes the surrounding forest to just explode into a frenzy of panicked animals. And those veins suddenly suck back into Rowan's hand, and she pulls her fist, drawing the last bits of the creature's essence into her hand, and it just collapses. This soft, rotting, spongy wood that just bursts with this horrible carrion smell, and the ichor begins to just evaporate immediately. So you all have a moment, kind of sitting there in the aftermath of this. Rowan's hands are covered in this black pus as it's just kind of dripping away and evaporating into nothing. And all of you are catching your breath. Oh, yeah.
I want to bottle some of its blood.
There's really nothing left of this. It all just kind of fades away. It's sucked back to the 11 hells.
If Tilly is still prone, then Rowan is reaching out to her to help her up.
How many hit points do you have left, Tilly?
6.
6? So she probably falls to a knee when
Tilly is kind of one eye shut. Like, I don't know.
So the creature was lifting her up in both of its hands, trying to crush her, and was pulling it into up against its chest, and you could see the moss was starting to flow around Tilly's body as it dies and sloughs back off of her. So you have a moment where you all begin to catch your breath, and just faintly you all hear, "Wonderful, dearies, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you ever so much. Do take the toys I have given you and use them oh so well." And that's where we'll stop.
Oh, fantastic.
It's worth a lamb.
We'll heal you up. Oh, man. Fantastic episode. Wow. What, 80 how much that? 85 damage?
84
plus 7? 84? Yeah. Oh, my God. Do not piss off Rowan. Don't piss off a dead ghost bird.
Do not mess with her godchild.
Excellent killing of a heretic. Congratulations, Rowan.
Can I join the club now?
Yep, you're in a bad boy club. It's official. I don't have too much time. I've got to wrap up pretty quick, so let's make the wrap-ups quick today. But great job, everybody. Dan, how's that tonight for you?
That was great. Pacing was a little off. We took our time, and that's fine. But we're knocking some rust off, getting back into it. That was cool. That was a fun combat. We were damn near about to knock a use off of that egg. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I had a great time.
Fantastic. Where can we find you online, Dan?
Oh, yeah, right. I'm on Twitter at Dan_Dylan_1. I'm a game designer with Wizards of the Coast on Dungeons & Dragons, and I love talking D&D, so come hit me up anytime.
Fantastic. And Simply, how's that tonight for you and Tilly?
It has its ups and downs. Ups more than downs. Bear. Paula, I think, might be coming to the Tilly side, is what I'll say. But, being squeezed like a lemon, a little on the downside. But I had a great time. This is really fun. I'm super glad we're back. I had fun on the Q&A last week. I don't know if it's live anywhere, but that was really, really fun. Just chit-chatting about the show, so y'all check it out if you haven't. But I'm just glad. It's going to be really exciting to see what happens next week. I'm super thrilled. I hate that it's coming to an end so quickly, but I've had such a good time. I am overall simply JXN, simply_JXN here on Twitch, simply JXN without an underscore on Twitter. I make art, I play games, I goof off. You're welcome to come hang out. I'm just trying to catch my breath right now because I thought I was going to have to use my fancy egg, and I didn't, didn't want to, just the instructions were pressed into the armor, and I'd have to dig it out. It's weird.
The whole thing.
Thank you.
You wouldn't have been able to use the egg yet. Of course, it was.
It happens. If she's carrying it, it happens automatically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
McLoken, how's that tonight for you and Cloak?
Hi, I'm McLoken. You might recognize me from such films as Find the Better You, written by Puff Puff, and How to Train Your Revived Bear, fluff and stuff. So I was trying to do How You Train Your Dragon, but how do you say that with a revived bear? I am McLoken. It was a weird roller coaster. Mainly with no one. Any of the players could not have convinced me to go on this journey except for Puff Puff, and I think that's the only way he would have gone, because Puff Puff is his conscience. It's like He's like he's Doctor Who, and Puff Puff is his companion, because if Puff Puff wasn't there, if you notice, when Puff Puff's not with him, he's doing shady shit and getting away with it. And so, yeah. But
thanks very much for Turi for give Puff Puff the ability to speak, part of her ginormous donation from a while back.
But you had to do it through grandmother.
Oh yes, I had to do it through grandmother.
Thank you, Turi. And yeah, that's what I did. So that's me. Okay. Follow me at my Twitter at McCloakin.
Dope. And Moff, how's that tonight for you and Rowan?
Yeah, I just overkilled a giant tree demon, so
a hell of a lot.
I feel like you can mess with Rowan. You can toy with her as much as you want, but as soon as you touch one of her friends or her very precious Tilly, then your life is forfeit. So I'm glad to be back at it, even though we have the finale next week and I'm not ready for it, and I don't know what Dan's planning, so I'm scared now. So I have a week to let that fester. But
I'm planning a party.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we have a party to go to. Okay. I'm Scarlet Moth. You can find me at that Scarlet Moth on Twitter. I'm an artist, cosplayer, D&D lover, all the good stuff. I'm starting on my Rowan head soon, so you can just follow my Twitter for all that progress on that cosplay, and you can look on my Twitter for any other D&D games that I'm in.
Fantastic. And then last but not least, Tall Squall.
I'm Tall Squall. You can find me all over the internet as Tall Squall. I DM my own game on Saturdays at 2 p.m. We're coming up on our 99th episode after we've been doing this for a couple years now. All started on Will's channel, however many moons ago that was, during one of his 24-hour streams. But you can come check us out there. Find me at Tall Squall all over the place. I had a blast. Yeah, Glaz does his thing. Woohoo!
Absolutely. I'm super excited for next week. It's the finale of World Tree Burn, same time next week, Tuesday 8. Be sure not to miss it. Mark it in your calendars. We'll also be making some big announcements about what's happening next with the show, so you will not want to miss that one. It's a big one. It's a big one. It's more than you're expecting. You're going to be excited. I got to go. We'll be back tomorrow. Call of Cthulhu, 2 p.m. Eastern. Until next time, try not to roll too many net ones. We want to be there laughing when you do. Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.